use the promo code IkeLive and get 20% off your entire order. That's unbelievable. Brought to you by Founders Beer. God, I love Founders. I'm such a beer guy, and I like all styles of beer. Founders makes them. I want you to go to foundersbrewing.com, or even better yet, download the Founders app. And by doing that, you can find out what dealer or bar has Founders right near you. Also, they're going to keep you ahead of the curve on brand new beer releases. That's foundersbrewing.com. This show's brought to you by Liquid Mayhem. Scent matters. Listen to me. If you want to catch more fish, if you want to catch bigger fish, try some Liquid Mayhem, put it on your favorite lure, and you're going to get bit. Go to liquidmayhem.com, use the promo code IkeLive. You ready for this? For 25% off your order of the best scent on the market, Liquid Mayhem. Also brought to you by Heshi Socks. That's right, Heshi Socks. Who doesn't love a good, comfortable, well-fitting sock? And guess what? The IkeLive crew had a hand in this, and we've got specially designed Ike-style socks just for you. Cushioned foot and toe, stay-up technology, and they've got a technology built in there where they won't stink. This is unbelievable, okay? Great designs, under $10, with the code IkeLive at HeshiWear.com. Also, they have Ike Foundation design socks. All proceeds go to the Ike Foundation. Brought to you by Torqeedo Motors, the leader in electric motor drives. If you're one of the guys like me, you have a tiny boat, you have a John boat, you live on an electric-only lake, get a Torqeedo if you want to be the fastest, most efficient boat on the water. Go to Torqeedo.com. And last but not least, the Ike Live show is brought to you by Hobie Kayaks. Hobie is the Cadillac of kayaks, and kayak fishing is changing the world. Easy access, easy to get into. I want you to go to Hobie.com to check out their large array of kayak products, including the one that I use, the Hobie 360. Listen to me. Prepare yourself. Get your popcorn. Get your Founders Beer and Tin Cup Whiskey. Get ready for a brand new Ike Live show coming up live right now. Come on, let's watch. Hey, everybody. Welcome to it.
I like the little repeat there. That was awesome.
Yeah, they give me zero time.
I know. Folks at home, how you doing tonight? Hope you're having a wonderful Saturday. We are. We're up here laughing. We're joking. Dave and I realized how old we are just a few seconds ago. I want to welcome you to a brand new Ike Live show. We've got a good one for you tonight. The one and only David Dudley joins us tonight, right on the heels of Redcrest. Can't wait to talk to David. It's going to be a good one. Let me intro the room real quick. Sitting to my left, we have another David. This one, David Brodzik. Dave Brodzik, have you won almost $5 million in tournaments?
No, the other way.
The other way.
Yeah.
You've lost $5 million. Dave has lost $5 million.
The other way.
So-
I'm selling short.
Right. Well,
I'm
you
short
have,
selling the market.
so you sort of have something in common with Dudley.
Same first name and
Right. And $5 million gain and $5 million loss.
yeah, just a $10 million difference between
Right.
the two of us.
Right. That's not too bad. $10 million difference. Producing the show
Ew.
for us, the one and only Brian the Carpenter. Brian, how you doing?
All right, I guess, I think.
No, we were just commenting that the show has been on time, very proper. Tonight, a little tardy, but still not our normal 20 or 30-minute tardy. We're about 8 minutes shy.
Yeah,
tonight. So,
yeah, 6, 7, 8 minutes.
yeah, whatever.
6, 7, 8,
High
9, 10
call.
pounder.
High call it.
That's right.
Also want to introduce our Zoom friends, weekly friends here.
Suit.
One
friends.
one that never wants to come back and one that's not allowed back. It's a very interesting difference, the dichotomy. We've got Pete Glusick, who doesn't want to come back, and we've got Rizzo, who's not allowed back. How are you doing, guys? How you doing, guys?
We're doing
Look at
good.
Rich not laughing.
Rich isn't laughing at all.
What Riz do? Catch like a sexual harassment case here? What happened? Why ain't he allowed back?
Very close.
Me too in the broads downstairs?
Yeah, no.
Pretty close.
Pretty close. Good to have you guys on tonight. Now, I know
Good to be here. Good
Now,
to be here.
both of you, I don't want to continue the negative barrage on you here, but both of you look a little worn out, but with good reason. I was on a lot during the day. I want to jump right into it on this subject. What an awesome Bash U Live today, guys. And man, if you're watching and listening to this show right now, you got to check out the next one when we have it. You know, with COVID, with the lack of fishing seminars this year, right, in-person seminars, Bash U stepped up to the plate. We're doing these virtual seminars. And, dude, they knocked it out of the park today. We had 3 young guns on there. And Pete, I would venture to say some of the best material I've heard in a long time at BU.
I got to agree. It's been great all week. We've had 3 classes, and we had Swindle, who headlined with Buddy Gross on Tuesday. And then yesterday we had a great cast. Today was just terrific. You know, Shane LaHue, Jake Whitaker, and Patrick Walters, a real young crew out on the Bassmaster Elite Trail.
Yeah.
And talking about some cutting edge stuff, you know, Shane jumping on the umbrella rig and just like opening our eyes about what in the world, why haven't we been doing this? You know?
I know.
And then Patrick with the forward facing sonar, talking about 360 and how he's, you know, using those tools.
Yeah.
Man, it was fascinating. Yeah. Really good show today.
Yeah. Riz, I want to call you to the plate. Give me one thing today that you learned that that sort of blew your socks off, that, you know, you heard one of these guys say, and you know, you're just blown away. Give me one thing you learned today that blew you away.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to really put it to just one thing because, you know, of how in-depth these guys went in the techniques that they were talking about. But really, it would have to be the first one that we had of the day with Shane LaHue and the umbrella rig, in how many different ways you can put that thing to work in the water.
Yeah.
Other than, you know, your typical just throw a bunch of quarter-ounce heads on there and get to slinging it. He fishes that thing with such a purpose, and he uses it in so many different ways that I never would have even imagined. I mean, he talks about putting scrounger heads on the back. He talks about putting chatterbaits on the back, all kinds of different stuff.
Mike mocked me for the chatterbait.
I mocked mine for that. Yeah.
That really, you know, opened my eyes to like this. It's a tool. It's available at the tour, you know, at the circuits that we fish, you know, so it kind of makes me want to like slap myself for not ever throwing it.
Imagine 5 chatterbaits. You need a tuna rod to grind it in, dude. Like,
it would vibrate out of your hand.
it'd be like a nuclear turbine.
Well, dude, that could be a new sex toy. You put 5 chatterbaits.
Dave, his thing is he puts 1 chatterbait on the middle arm.
Yeah.
And it would be the furthest back.
Got it.
So,
yeah.
Wow.
Moni's in the middle.
Yeah. It was some great stuff. Definitely invite everybody to go over to bashu.tv and check out the material there. Because if they subscribe, Pete, correct me if I'm wrong, all this material will eventually be on Bash U. Is that correct?
Absolutely. It's going to be released. We're going to edit them immediately and start putting them out there. You know, the sonar stuff and a lot of stuff's that's hot. It's going to come out first, and then we have seminars that are in tune with what's going on with the seasons of fishing that are going to be released. So
that's awesome.
It's all coming out. Bash
That's
TV.
awesome. Love it. Well, speaking of what's hot, I have a very hot item in my hand. A lot of people have been hunting this for 7 years now, Bri, and they can't seem to win. But tonight, could be your chance. Or they win and they don't get it.
Or get a hold of Chris from New York. He's got about 6 probably laying around.
Right,
He
Chris
didn't even
from New
open
York
yet.
has all the bags. He's going to be putting them on eBay. But this is the world famous Ike Life gift bag loaded with Ike Life sponsored products. You heard all of them in the intro to this show. This is a bag you want to try to win, and it's pretty easy. Riz, if they want to win it, what can they do here to win this thing?
They got to like and share tonight's feed. Just like and share us over on Facebook. We want you to watch with us on the website so that you can chat with us on the message board. But if you're over on Facebook chilling, like and share, you'll be entered in for a chance to win. And then you just got to be a little patient for when I can get back in the office. Send it to you.
Dude,
when we allow Riz back.
You know
in
what's
the
funny though? It
Yeah.
doesn't matter who we put in that spot.
Nobody
What do you
gets
mean?
it.
We just always sucked at it.
Yeah.
Remember Becky was the dream killer?
I
Oh,
sent
yeah, the
out
dream
the last
killer.
2 last week, and
Yeah.
they're out.
Yeah,
They're in the
mailing's
stratosphere.
not our thing.
Like how
Not with
many?
this show.
You know how many children's hollow dreams when they hear the mailbox slot slam shut, Goosh, and they come drop the video controller to go open the mailbox, and it's just junk mail and bills.
Yeah, it's
Still not there.
There's
no
nothing
prize.
from Pro Edge Fishing.
No, zero. A lot of heartache out
I
there.
guarantee there's a comment on at least one of the platforms tonight of some.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, someone shorted.
Oh yeah,
Someone slight it or
somebody got a
short
beat
it.
bag.
Yes. Speaking of beat bags,
Oh.
I'm still talking about my vasectomy from a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
Nice
weed whack
transition.
bag.
Yeah, that was a weed whack bag. No, speaking of beat bags, I would like to change topic here and bring something up that's interesting, which is not one, but 2 events canceled / rescheduled this week, Pete. We saw BASS decide to
Oh, yeah.
cancel and reschedule
Sabine.
their elite event over on the Sabine, which was originally scheduled for April. Now they decided to push it back to their makeup date of August.
Why?
Okay, hold on, we'll get that second. And let me throw this out there
Wow.
too. Also, Red Crest over on Lake Palestine in Texas being canceled and moved over to Lake Eufaula in Alabama. And we're going to get a chance to talk to David Dudley about that when he comes on. But some big interesting things. Two real quick analogies. And Dave, Bass decided to cancel and move the Orange, Texas event on the Sabine because of COVID regulations in place limiting the number of fans that could show up. So it has nothing to do with the fishery or the weather or the bass fishing, but the fact that they can't get, thousands of fans out there, they'd be restricted. So they decided to push it to August. So that's the reason in there. But my second analogy, and then I want to talk to everybody and get your opinion on it. Dude, this is one of the times where it's like, thank God I'm not fishing that bullshit anymore. Because, just listening to it now, not as a competitor,
Right.
what shit, dude? Like, I wonder, have any of the anglers, stood up to that or questioned it or,
You're mad at Bass?
I'm not mad at I'm mad at the leagues for screwing over the anglers constantly, And that to me is just another one of those cases where I'm sure they weren't surveyed. If anybody from Bass or anyone that fishes BASS on the elite levels watching, chime in on our IM or hit up Brian DeCarpenter. I'd love to know if they contacted you before they made that decision. I'm going to bet the house that they did not.
I got you.
I'm going to bet the house that they did not.
Because I don't have a problem with them doing that, man.
Well, I
Gotta-
do. I do. You're moving.
For the
you're-
anglers, yes, I do. But
Yeah.
the statement that they're making to states saying, if the Super Bowl is fine and there was no
Yeah.
super spreader event there, why can't we have 1,000 people
Yeah, I
come
don't
watch?
think that's why they moved it. I think they moved it for their pocketbook.
Oh, yeah?
I think it
I
was
don't know about
Orange
that,
saying something to them for their pocketbook. That's
okay.
that's my gut, because from a fishing standpoint, the Sabine Orange, Texas, is a lot better in April than it is in August.
Yeah.
Fish mortality is a lot.
Yeah.
You're in a bad situation
It's
in
like
August.
sub-Saharan heat.
Yeah, than you would be in April. I want to get Pete. Give me your opinion on some of this stuff.
I think Dave, I kind of feel the same way as him.
Thank you.
The from the business side of fishing, I mean, Orange, Texas gets the biggest crowds on the planet. I mean, Waddington, New York, I guess, is the only one that competes with them for the massive audience that
bigger than Philadelphia, Peter.
Believe it or not, it's huge.
Okay.
It's massive audiences down there, and that's the sponsors of bass, everybody involved with the program, and the sport loves that. When you get that massive audience, it really builds a lot of enthusiasm. It's good for the anglers that way. It's good for their business, the sport that way, to see those big giant audiences attending. So I see that part of it. I didn't even think about the anglers until you brought it up, that guys are preparing for April, right? They got their whole tournament strategies, bookings.
They got they got their lodgings booked, right?
Yep.
The campsites are booked, and on this other example with this MLF reschedule, can you imagine? Everybody's already checked into their houses. They've rented Airbnbs and VRBOs and BO and Body Odor and all this stuff. They're sitting there, and they get a call that it's moved. They got to drive 5-6 states to the east. That life of that uncertainty. Like, I remember it, and I vividly remember it, and I am so glad I'm not dealing with that shit right now.
Dude.
Glad I'm not dealing with that shit.
Yeah, that's shocking for the angler. There's a lot that you got to overcome when the schedule changes like that. It's so tough, man. Gosh, the COVID restrictions and what's happening. Oh my, it's just so hard.
Yeah,
everybody has to make a hard decision every single day right now.
Yeah, I blame it all. I'd like to blame it all on the leagues because I can. now that I'm not fishing, I don't have any allegiance to anyone, and I can say anything I want for the most part.
Never stopped you before.
I know. But I want to throw them under the bus. And it also cracks me up that they'll always get, an angler to come on, and they'll quote an angler, and they'll quote an angler to reinforce that what they did was right, And I saw that Ott, they had a quote from Ott about their move to Eufaula, like, this is the best thing. And I could just hear him saying, I love Ott, but this would be Ott. This is, how Ott talks, real slow and
deep.
Yeah, and deep. But of course, it's a good thing for Ott. He came in second last time he was there. Of course, it's a good move for Ott.
Yeah.
But, what about the other 40 guys or however many fish at
the true mark would have been, hey, guys, we're moving it to Philadelphia, and then see how much they're all like,
oh,
this
yeah.
is bull crap.
Oh, yeah, I wish they would have. Actually, although it fishes good this time of the year. It'd be crowded, but actually probably better than the summer, I'd say. Let's move on. Let's move on with that. And there were some good reasons, too. I mean, Texas got pounded with snow and ice.
Yeah, they weren't ready for it, man.
That part of the world has seen conditions the last few days that they never see. So there was some merit to it,
The green energy wind turbines froze solid.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Wow.
Did you see Mike Reed's posts at all yesterday on Alabama? Mike Reed, he works for Bass Hughes, the best, and he was at Lake Fork, on the banks of Lake Fork, and the ramp was iced up. There was snow everywhere. There was ice collecting on all the standing timber out at Fork. And it's just crazy kind of weather you just never see down there.
The worst ice I ever faced driving was coming home from Florida in February in North Carolina. It was wild, man. I've never seen it as bad. We don't get it. We don't get the ice like when we're out. Maybe they just don't salt. Like, I don't know what it is.
Well, they don't. Yeah, they definitely don't have the infrastructure for it.
But I mean, it was the worst ice I'd ever seen. Like, there were tractor trailers 100 yards off the road in the woods, man. Like, it was wild, dude.
Yeah, and I just don't think that, a lot of them, they don't experience that. So then they get in a car to drive. You don't know to slow down by 20 miles an hour.
By more than that. It was terrifying, dude. I was towing a boat.
Yeah. Brian Carpenter shaking his head. Speaking of slowing up, Dave, I had a note here in my books here. A lot of people are concerned. A lot of people are almost borderline aggravated, upset that your Instagram posts have slowed up. Tell me about this.
I feel weird doing it, dude.
What do you mean?
Listen, if I had your empire to uphold, I wouldn't feel weird. but I'm like a 49-year-old guy. Like I don't know. I feel so stupid doing
Do you
it,
feel
dude.
dirty?
I feel stupid.
Really?
I feel like I feel
No, but they're
dumb.
so good. The post that
I
you
don't
made
know,
was so
dude.
good.
I just feel stupid. I'm going to be
Oh,
honest
man.
with you. I cringe. And then here's another problem. Like somehow my son's friends are now like, you know what I mean? Like I can't be doing that. You know what I don't know. Listen, I might create another one and not tell any. Like just tell the people on the show.
You're
what I
going
mean?
to create another one?
I might just do one.
Yeah, but you have such a good following on this one.
It's just I don't know, man. Like I don't know.
I think you just. I think you're being too critical. I think you're
No.
overthinking it. I think you just need to have fun with it.
Yeah.
And like with your kids and kids' friends watching, it does dictate a little bit of the crudeness element. But dude, I still think the wittiness and the funny, like I looked at. I think you have 5 posts, and every one of them made me laugh. And I think a lot of people made them laugh. So
right. I'll try.
yeah,
I'll do better.
Yeah, Brian, you hear this? I'm calling Dave to the plate on making more Instagram posts.
He's mad. Don't even.
Like, it's
Don't
always
make him
mad.
madder.
Yeah, you could obviously tell I'm dealing with some technical problems over here.
Oh, what do you got? Can we help you?
No, you can continue with the show and try to ignore me.
Oh, okay.
Leave me alone.
You want me to tell you, so now you're stressed out too.
No, I don't care.
All right, I will do a better job. How's that?
All right, so you're saying there's a chance you may post again.
I will.
Okay.
Yeah, come on, Dave, get in there, dude. People need you.
I know. It's just. I guess.
I'm suffering mightily over
All
here.
right. Let me remind everybody, you're watching a brand new Ike Live show. Hope you're having a wonderful Saturday night. We've got David Dudley coming up just a little later in the show, probably in about 10 minutes or 15 minutes away, assuming there's no technical difficulties. I want to remind everybody, if you're watching over on Facebook, please like and share the feed. If you do that, that's all you have to do. You're entered in a chance to win the amazing Ike Live gift bag. Also, your comments and questions, we want them. If you're watching on IkeLive.com, hit up Riz right there on your instant messaging, whatever the IM's right there. If you're watching on the social media sites, it's at Ike Live Show, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We're going to monitor this tonight as well a little bit. Beer of the night. I said this in a couple of my lives before the show started, but beer of the night, Dave, we're drinking the Founders All Day IPA tonight.
Cheers.
Cheers to you. And Dave, also, you're already into it, and I'm going to get into it here in a second. We're drinking a little tin cup tonight.
Well, Brian gilded me last
yeah,
week. He
that
said I
did.
didn't drink enough. 2
Yes.
weeks before that, he was telling me don't drink no more on the show.
Classic American whiskey. Now, wait a minute. Brian, did you tell Dave to drink up heavier? Did you feel like Dave was
No,
flat in the last show? Is that why you
Sober
this?
Dave was terrible.
But I actually feel bad because
No,
I may have had some influence on that.
no, there's a medium between just complete doing nothing
Yeah,
over there.
well, but
and,
I
it's
did.
like,
I did.
we walked the line,
right. We had a
But Dave's like, well, I'm not even gonna walk.
right.
And that's what he did.
All right. So we're
What about if I only know how to walk a certain way? I don't know how to limp.
all right. So we're loosening Dave up with some whiskey tonight. Want to switch topics and talk about? Last thing I had on my list here was chance I had to go fishing with a real good friend of mine and a good friend of a lot of things we do here at Ike Live and Pro Edge and Ike Foundation especially. Rich Ortiz, who's an amazing singer. Dude, I'm telling you, he's one of those guys that just has that voice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's amazing voice.
Well, how do you know? Was he lullabying you? Like
No.
Does he
because
perform?
he's performed with the Ike Foundation before. Like when we had Casino Night and a few other things.
is he in like a cover band? Like what does he?
He does a lot of original stuff.
Really?
Yeah, he does a lot of original stuff. He's a songwriter.
Wow.
I gotta let you listen to some of his stuff. Definitely not like the
bet,
genre
too.
of music that we would normally listen to, but awesome vocals.
I like reading authors who are also songwriters. They write differently.
You think so?
They absolutely do.
Huh.
They construct things differently than people who, like us, which is
Right.
right. You know?
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. But he's a hell of a fisherman too, which was
Yeah.
really cool. So about 2 years ago, I think Rich and I started talking. He said, "You got to come up and see this ice fishery that we have on Lake George." And so Lake George is a place that Dave. You go up there a lot. I've fished it before. Pete's fished it. So for those of you watching, don't know Lake George, it's in upstate New York. Adirondack Mountains.
The
Right
very
below.
bottom of Lake Champlain
just-
ends in the middle of Lake George.
Right.
They
yeah.
kind of straddle each other a
Right.
little bit.
Just the bottom of Champlain. Beautiful area, dude. Like, the mountains. I love that area of the country. But got to experience this ice fishing.
Yeah.
And it blew me away. So we ended up with 13 lake trout, 3 northern pike, and about 20 or 25 yellow perch, including some misses, so it could have been higher. But
Do you have a nice ice rig, Rod?
yeah, so we did a combination of ice fishing with a rod and reel, and then setting up these tip-ups or pop-ups. And, dude, that was more fun than any of the rod and reel
Is that where it looks like a
fishing.
straw's in the water?
Yeah. So, if you're watching, a lot of guys think ice fishing's like boring, and I did too years ago. But so he drills out. I think we set up, I want to say 11 tip-ups, and then we had probably another 20 or 30 holes drilled that we would fish in. And he actually had binoculars because he had them spread out so far. So we would fish. We would fish. We also had an ice hut set up so we could go in and warm up, and that was a perch hole. So we could, regular fish for lake trout. We could fish for perch, and then he would keep an eye on these tip-ups.
Get on the knocks looking for the...
Yeah, with the binoculars, And it was amazing because, you'd be fishing, and I actually got to see it twice. Just in my scanning, I saw the flag pop up. And that's the coolest thing. You know what I mean? Because, it's like
So
that.
let me guess. Of course, you turn on and you actually get to see the flag popping up in action. It wasn't already up.
Well,
you got to watch it.
Yeah, I watched it. And both times, I didn't have the binoculars.
Oh, wow.
I was just scanning.
Eagle eyeing.
And I saw, and it popped up. But anyway, so, dude, there's this mad dash to the hole, and you get to the hole, and the way these flags are set up, they have these little reels below them. And so you sort of like gently lift up the flag, and you look down there, and there's this little reel. And most of the time, the reel would be spinning away, so the fish is on there. Dude, it's just as exciting as getting the bite. It's that moment if you have a rod and a reel and you get the bite, it's that same moment. So you put the flag contraption down, and you don't even really set the hook, but you just sort of get a steady pressure and just keep them coming. And, dude, the most interesting thing is the way you fight a fish with a rod and reel is the way that you have to fight the fish. And so, what I'm saying is, like, when he's giving, you take, right? You take. And when he wants to go, you give. And it's all with your hands.
Don't you also angle
dude.
your rod like when they're going a certain way so the line's not against the ice or no? Like,
So there's no rod. It's all with your hands, But, so your positioning over that hole is really critical. And Rich had to walk me through some of this.
Yeah.
So, you're literally like sort of walking that hole to not get your line caught on the ice. And we broke one off because it didn't happen right. And there were a few misses, but, it's really amazing. And it's like, it's that hand-to-hand combat that you have with a rod and reel, but it's with your hands.
Yeah.
And it's just as strategic, just as nerve-wracking and heart-pounding.
wow.
And the hardest thing is that moment when it gets to the hole, So now you have these fish. And give you an idea, we had lake trout between 3-4 pounds all the way up to about 12 or 13-pound lake
Oh,
trout.
my God.
And we had northern pike from 6 pounds all the way up to about 11 or 12
How
pounds.
deep were you guys over?
Okay, so a lot shallower than what you would think. These fish were coming 35 to 45 feet deep.
Wow.
That's
Which,
shallow for Lake George.
right, which on Lake George, Pete, is shallow, but it's also, you ready for this? It's going to blow you guys away. It's the weed edge on Lake George,
No kidding.
which is positioned in about 40 to 45 feet of water. Dude, is it hard to believe there's grass? I couldn't believe it if I didn't see it with my own eyes, dude.
Yeah.
But there's grass that grows out to about that 40, 45-foot mark, and then it edges off.
That's
dude.
water clarity.
It's
That's
water
that
clarity.
sand.
Yeah.
That's that sand grass,
It's
right?
sand grass. It sure is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, called sand grass, called stink grass.
Yeah.
I've heard it called a lot of stuff. But, dude, that grass is like the lifeblood of everything, right? So a couple times we hooked the grass, and it came up. And, dude, he's like, look at the grass. And I'm looking at it. Dude, the grass is alive. That water's freaking freezing, but it's got grass shrimp in it.
Yeah.
It's got little stuff in it.
The whole cycle.
The whole
Wow,
cycle.
man.
And these big trout and pike we were catching were spitting up yellow perch. They were spitting up smelt. Like we would catch them, and they'd be like literally like, bleh! They'd be spitting this shit out, you know?
Right.
Dude, it was wild, dude.
Sounds like me and Dave's trip to Lake George.
Same?
Fitting up.
Yes.
Very
similar?
Sort of.
Minus the fish?
I don't think. Did we even cast?
I don't know. I think you came conscious when you got to about 20 feet, and then when I came down to get you and bring you back to the surface.
Well, there was that.
Huh.
Trashed her out. Hit a rock
In
at
the
night.
middle, in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Basically jumped a rock island in my nitro.
Trying to. Yeah, we had a camping spot on an island out there.
Nice.
So Dave had this romantic weekend for him. I don't know what the hell, why him and I went on an island in a tent. You know what you had planned.
Oh my God. Did you have baked goods for him?
I was going to riz them out there. I don't know.
A new term created tonight.
Well, what part of we'll get back to that before it gets off the rail, and then you're like, all right, who would bring Dave Dudley on?
Yeah.
What part of the lake? Mid lake? Up?
We
bottom?
were mid lake. We were mid lake.
So Bolton Landing you went out of?
Just north of there.
Okay.
Yeah, and the deal was basically we were fishing at the mouths of bays, which is a real deal, you know. So like, just like in the open water period, those bays and coves and flats are important, right? So even in the winter, it's important. So they're not up in the bays, but their wintering haunt is sort of that deep water break in front of the bays, you know. So, dude, it was so fun. It was so fun. I mean,
How were you getting out there, Mike? Like, were you just walking your gear out there? Did you have a motorized vehicle on the ice?
You could walk. Where we set up was about a mile from the landing, so walking was possible. But we actually had a 4-wheeler and just a couple sleds that we put the equipment on.
Wow.
It was so awesome, so convenient. It was cold, but having that tent was nice because you can go in and warm up. You know, and you could, and when you were in there, it's not like you were not doing anything; you were catching perch.
Well, did he bring? Did he bring you down into town? Did you go to Adirondack Brewing?
We didn't do that, but
Dude.
I did
All right.
stay one night in the village, and we did go to a cool little bar the first night.
They got
I
a
was
couple
there.
cool little bars up there in Bolton. You're up in Bolton. You're talking about.
Yeah, we were. I stayed where I stayed was Lake George Village, and then we drove
All
up
right,
to
gotcha.
fish.
Yeah. All right.
But shout out to Rich Ortiz for an amazing experience, and of course we captured all that. Brian the Carpenter. It's going to be a Going Ike here. You'll see in a week or so.
Cool.
So very very excited.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, good thing we didn't have cameras or GoPros when we went to Lake George, Dave.
Yeah, that would have been a problem. Were there any trouser trout during that trip that you guys caught?
Don't make it like that. No.
Oh, all right.
They
Yeah,
definitely
like,
wasn't like that
if
at all.
If like we were in our 20s now and we're those same people, we'd have a pretty rad. We'd have a pretty rad channel, dude.
I'd love to see the footage of you guys and some of the experience you had in that nitro, because that's the same nitro that went down to Florida.
That was
and
out
wrecked-
in the
and wrecked
Atlantic.
the Coral Reef.
Yeah, out in the Atlantic Ocean, dude.
Yeah, if you go down to Florida and there's this one area you were down near.
we were in
We
West.
don't, we don't need to say names.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
mean, yeah,
But
there's it's Florida. There's probably no statute of limitations
There's a
on that stuff,
trail.
dude.
There's a trail busted through the Coral Reef that goes out for about 2 miles.
We didn't know. We didn't know.
Allegedly.
We didn't know.
You're kids. When your kids do stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Who cares? Nobody cares.
Man.
Let me remind you, you're watching a brand new Ike Live. We're going to take a little break here, Brian, a second, and it's going to get good because we've got David Dudley on. Cannot wait to get him on this show, talk to him, see what he's up to, talk about some of his experiences and stories, and see what he's got planned for the future. So hang in there with us because when we come back, it's going to be a good one tonight. We've got the one and only David Dudley for you here on Ike Live. You know, right now where we're standing, we're in Camden, New Jersey.
Yeah.
Philadelphia is right there. This is the concrete jungle. And, you know, a lot of those kids, as they grow up, they don't fish. It's interesting because they're surrounded by water, you know, the Delaware River, the Schuylkill, ponds, city park lakes. But they don't have the influence to cast, to fish, to have a rod and reel.
And that became our focus, you know, is to target kids in what we call non-traditional areas, you know, urban areas, city centers, where the population's high, and let these kids have the experience. You know, it's amazing. I mean, some of the experiences we've had, whether it's Central Park in New York City, here in Camden, other parts of the country, even just casting.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable to see it, isn't it?
Yes.
It's unbelievable.
Yes.
And you know, you see these kids have this experience they've never had, and they light up, you know? The big thing, I think, for the Ike Foundation is we're not saying we want all these kids to become professional anglers.
No.
Be great if some of them did, but we want them to have that fishing experience because it ties them to so many other positive things. The outdoors, nature, conservation. Ecology, you know, all these amazing things in life that maybe they wouldn't have been exposed to any other way. We're trying to help with that. So it's important. It's important for us.
Yeah.
We're proud of it.
You work hard to catch your fish. TH Marine has 2 products to ensure your fish survive. The Oxygenator injects 100% pure oxygen into your live well. That increases fish survival by 35%. For the perfect combo, add G-Juice Live Well treatment. It calms fish, stops bleeding, removes ammonia, and replaces slime coat. Get an Oxygenator and G-Juice and keep your fish alive.
At Founders Brewing, we asked ourselves, what if we brewed a beer perfect for any occasion? A beer that makes a weekday feel more like the weekend, and the weekend feel more like an adventure. What if we brewed a beer that brought us together and allowed us to be ourselves? A beer that is just as much of a companion as it is a reward at the end of the journey. What if we explored the unknown together and found a new way to celebrate taste and flavor and life's simple pleasures? And what if we brewed a beer that could go where you go without slowing you down? Founders All Day IPA, low ABV and full flavor that goes where you go. Perfect for any occasion.
We're excited to announce our brand new partnership with an amazing company, Heshi Socks. That's spelt Heshi Socks. Go to HeshiSocks.com to check out my brand new Mike Iaconelli collection. That's right, I have my own custom socks in tournament colors. I promise you, you will never, I mean never, find a more comfortable sock. The great news, all my socks are under $10 a pair when you use our promo code IKE20. Go to HeshiSocks.com, use the promo code IKE20 to get the most comfortable socks in the world.
Welcome back. You're watching a brand new Ike Live show here on a cold, chilly, snowy Saturday night. Hope you're having a good time. Want to remind you, we've got a good one for you tonight. We've got David Dudley joining us just a second here in a couple seconds. Want to also remind you, if you're watching over on Facebook, which might be the better option tonight, we might be having a couple little difficulties on IkeLive.com. But if you're watching over on Facebook, like and share the feed. You're going to be entered in a contest to win the famous Ike Live gift bag. Also, you saw the commercial there, Heshi Socks, big supporter of the show. Dave and I are both wearing the socks tonight. If you get a chance, go over to HeshiWear.com. Check out the socks. We've also got some on there that the proceeds go toward the Ike Foundation and help get new kids fishing. So I want you to check that out.
Do they make different sizes?
They don't. It's one size fits all.
Because mine go to my knees. Yeah. I looked at yours at your calf.
No,
I got
I had them.
Oh, okay, that's what mine do.
Up.
Okay, yeah. All right.
Yeah. No, I like the longer sock. Are you a fan of the longer sock? I like the longer sock.
No, because I feel like it's sandpaper and all my leg hair off, like right there.
Pippi Longstockings.
Right. I don't know. I kind of like the warmth of a longer
leg
sock.
warmers.
But once again, real quick, before we get David on, let me remind you, your feedback is critical tonight. We want to hear from you. Please hit us up on the IMs. If you're watching on social media, hit us up over there at Ike Live Show. We definitely want to put your comments through.
Yes.
Yeah, Brian.
And if anybody's having trouble with the website tonight, Rich
Yeah.
is giving us a little feedback saying the website's a little bit rough.
Yeah.
Like Mike said, we're on Facebook and YouTube as well.
Okay, that's
Like
true.
Live channel, so.
All right, well, I want to get this show started. Before we do, let me send a very special thank you to our policemen, firemen, EMTs, doctors. Thank you guys for what you do. Also, our military men and women, active and veterans. Thank you guys. It's a crazy world. We really appreciate you. I want to get right to it, Bri, if we can. Without further ado, we have a very special guest on, the one and only David Dudley, joining us here on Ike Live tonight. David, how you doing?
I am excited, man. I'm doing good here in Lake Eufaula, getting ready to start for the Red Crest here in Alabama.
Okay, first things first, let me tell you that I'm looking at you on screen here, and you look good, dude. You look like, honestly, I'm looking at you. You look good. You look in shape. You look, you're glowing.
I weigh 175 pounds right now, and my waist size, like 32 size pants. I just can't take myself down to 30 because I just think but 32 size pants will fall off of me.
Yeah.
But, you know, when you got a life-threatening situation on hand, it's going to motivate you to get yourself in shape, you know, and
you could tourniquet my left leg with that 32 waist.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you look great. You look super. You look awesome. And in case there's some people watching the show tonight, I know the story, David, but I want you to tell it again. It's pretty amazing. It's a life-changing thing. You found out you had COVID, and then based on that, you found out you had diabetes. Tell us about this, and tell us how life-changing it was for you.
So, I went in for COVID, and they pulled my blood, and so when I went in, they go, "Hey, Mr. Dudley, you know you're diabetic?" I'm like, "No." And they're like, "Yeah, you got a 12.1 A1C, which on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 is like you are in desperate trouble in the diabetic world."
Yeah.
I was a 12.1, which meant my kidneys were about to fail, going permanently blind, losing my legs, my feet, my hands, like losing my. It was like, oh my gosh. So, yes, I got motivated extremely quick. So I play about 2 hours of racquetball a day. I tell everybody I feel like a freak, like everything I pick. I haven't had a piece of bread, a grain of rice, or potatoes in 13 weeks now. So like I'm kind of doing the keto thing with a little bit of my twist in it. And it's a life-changing thing. And here's the thing, like, you don't realize, like, the wake-up call, I totally abused, like, my pancreas. And I put it like this. It's like an alcoholic drinking his liver down. And when I say I was a sugarholic, I'm talking consuming, like, it was nothing for me to eat 2 sleeves of Oreos. And I know we're all like Oreos, right?
Damn.
But I would eat it, never think nothing about it. Damn. And then, like, later on, drink drinks. And I told my doctor, I said, dude, I'm peeing all the time. He has apologized 1,000 times. Like, David, I'm sorry. He goes, you didn't fit the mold, and of a diabetic, right?
Right.
I was still in good shape. I felt like I was, I mean, I wasn't bad and very active. And so I'm urging people that are listening to is that don't take your health for granted. Like, if you're peeing a lot or you're doing, like, there's things, like, I don't care how healthy you think they are. And my pancreas just said, Dudley, I've had enough.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a liver, somebody drinking your liver down.
Yeah.
I destroyed my pancreas. My pancreas said, David, I've had enough. I can't fight for you anymore, and I'm done.
What's the
And
pancreas do? What's its
and
job?
it's my fault.
Hey, Dave, what's the pancreas even do? Like, what?
It processes the carbs and sugars and keeps your blood sugar at a good level.
And how heavy were you when you got?
It said I worked.
How heavy were you when you went in with COVID, Dave?
200.
Oh, so you're only down 25 pounds.
25 pounds.
Okay.
That's what the doctor said. He goes, I never thought that with you.
Huh.
Right.
And what's happening is COVID is revealing a lot of diabetes now, just like with me. So they're saying it's a correlation, but I think it's more of people like me who are like, I'm good, don't really pay it, don't get checked up, don't. So they go in, they pull their blood, and they're like, oh, you're a diabetic, you're a diabetic, you're a diabetic, you're a diabetic. So people are getting revealed their problems through COVID. And that's why I say COVID saved my life, man. It did. It saved my life.
It's an interesting analogy because during this time when there's, COVID's destroying the world, it's also saving people, and it saved David for sure. It's interesting, too, because I don't know if there's a correlation between diabetes and fishermen, but you're the third angler that I know that got diabetes sort of younger in life.
That road diet, man, maybe. I don't know.
I think it's that road diet.
Yeah, and it might be a wake-up call. Do you think this is a wake-up call for a lot of fishermen, David? Because we're gypsies. We eat fast food.
Yeah.
We down 5 Gatorades, all day, and
18 inches of Oreos.
Twinkie. I mean, I'm the dude.
Yeah.
My curse, and you know this, Dave and Brian Carpenter. My curse was a little Debbie honey buns. Dude, I was a fiend for honey buns.
No. Hey, it's not little diabetes. That is the name of little diabetes. I used to be like, man, I love little diabetes. And it's just that they're become.
Yeah, it's.
You there?
Yeah, you still there, David?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, we lost you just for a second. We lost your feed. You're good. We got you now.
Okay. Yeah, no, I said you were talking about little diabetes, the little Debbies. I nicknamed them little diabetes because they're nothing. So I used to joke about that. Darn if it didn't come back. And she was like, okay, you making fun of me, little Debbie, calling me little diabetes? Darn it. She put the curse on me and I got it.
Man.
I used to eat them little diabetes or little Debbies. Like I would eat the whole box in a day, like boxes of them.
Yeah.
I'm just a sugarholic,
Yeah.
Wow.
Our buddy Bob Soley, who's a plumber.
Yeah.
That's what when he's plumbing stuff.
Yeah.
With the snake. He's in there to get them little Debbies out of the way.
Right, and little Debbies out of the pipes. Well, I think it is a wake-up call. And
they're not as tasty.
Yeah, they're not as tasty. If you're watching, if you're a fisherman, a hardcore fisherman like we are, think about your health. Take it into account. If there's something off, I think it's a great tip from David. If something's off, if something's not right, go to the doctor, get checked out, because we don't want that to happen. I want to jump back to this rescheduling, and I know you guys were over in Texas. Original location was Lake Palestine. Dude, it got ridiculous in the state of Texas. We saw the pictures, snow, ice, lakes were frozen. The guys decided to move you to Lake Eufaula. Talk a little bit about that. Are you happy with the change? Are you glad you guys are in Alabama?
Yeah, of course, looking at, I think it was Lake Fork. I was seeing pictures of Lake Fork being frozen. Then I saw Lake Palestine being frozen. And of course, I'm anywhere but there. And I tend to say, when you're dealing with tournaments where 2 bites, 3 bites are going to, do well, I I don't want to fish that place. It lends a little bit. Fishing is not luck because it's typically the same people will always come out on top. But when you're dealing with a fishery where you're just begging for a bite, just give me a bite, give me 2 bites. I don't want to go there.
Yeah.
Like, I don't. So I think we're at a lake where I think some fish, the possibility of catching a lot of fish happens. So yes, I think you made the right call. And here's one interesting thing they said, and I thought it was very interesting, is think about it this way. The people that were without power, without water, they were living in gymnasiums. All the hotels were booked. And here we are, fishermen, coming into a town in a city where a crisis is going on.
Right.
And it's not right for us to just bolt into a city and say, we're going to have a turn.
Good point.
And I think that was a very smart thing.
That's
and
a good point.
It needed to be relocated. And I think they made the excellent call on that, gave that community what would have been our hotels, give them, I say ours, but y'all know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, I think it was a respectful move. I think that's the word. I'm very respectful for the situation that was going on. Fishing is not that important. Their lives, their, kids or family, that's more important than us going out there showcasing a bass tournament. Yeah. So I think it's a smart move. Lake Eufaula accepted us, and that's where we're at now.
It's a great point. I didn't think about that. We we talked about it early in the show, at the opening of the show, and I was a little jaded the other way, but I'm glad you brought that up because that's true. Yeah. That's true. There's a lot of fishing's important. It's a livelihood for these guys, but life is way more important, and that's a life or death situation.
You know what's crazy, man? Where this is all happening, it's lower and closer to the equator than the Bahamas are.
It's crazy.
Like Amistad, frozen.
It's crazy. I know. It's hard to fathom.
Wow.
And there's literally there's a Bigfoot sighting on Instagram every day. It's crazy times, man.
It is crazy.
I'm telling you, none of this is real.
You don't think it's real? I want to know. Tomorrow is an official practice for you out on Lake Eufaula. Are you going to practice this event any different than you normally practice? This is the championship classic event for MLF. This is a big deal. It's a big deal. Are you going to practice any different, David, than you have for, let's say, FLW championships or Bassmaster Classics? Same mindset, different mindset?
Yeah. So with the change that's happened with moving away, and so we only get 1 day of practice. So coming into a tournament where 300,000 is on the line, I think, and we're in the early spring, you kind of know in the evening time or late afternoon is going to be when the fish are going to be biting, typically anyways, once that water gets up a little bit. So I think tomorrow I'm going to try not to be rushed, but I'm going to try to look at as much of the lake I can by 12 o'clock. And then from 12 till whatever, till we have to be off the water, kind of try to pick an area and dissect it and see what I can do. But until then, so yes, I am approaching this a little bit different when you have 2 days or 3 days where you can kind of relax, look at the map, figure out a little plan. But when you're only got 1 day of practice, and yes, this one is going to be different than every championship I've ever fished in the past. 1 day of practice, and we're starting the very next day, like not a day off, not a media day. Right. We're off the water by 6 o'clock, and by 6 o'clock the next morning, we're launching, ready to get the game on. So
wow. Pete Glusek, I want you to weigh in on that. We've fished a lot of events with short practice periods, but that's ridiculous, Pete. And Lake Eufaula is not a puddle either. You're talking about a lake that stretches a lot of length from the dam all the way up the river. What do you think about David's game plan, Pete?
Well, I got a I did it one time, like the James River, the one I think you won. I was able to practice for 4 hours, just due to situation I couldn't get there. And I remember going through that practice period, like, what in the world am I going to do with 4 hours?
Right.
You know, on a body of water that big. And, you know, so let me ask you that, Dave. Like you said you're going to look around the lake until about noon. What are you going to be looking for? What in that first half of the day? What's going to be your goal?
Yeah, so naturally you're going to be the lake right now is like what I saw from just riding down the road. It is extremely muddy. So I'm going to be riding from one end of the lake to the other, trying to find some decent color water, right? I want something with a little bit decent color water. But when you know you're already going to be in a tournament where it's very few bites are going to be available, you want to pick an area that you can spend 8 hours in casting. Like, you need to get in an area where it's more important about just figuring out the bass that live in that area. You better figure out how to catch them. And I think I'm looking, my thought process is just looking for an area that I can spend a lot of time in casting. So that's what I'm after.
Yeah.
I personally don't like that not your strategy, but that 1 day of practice. I think I like for pros to have a little better, more time to be able to dissect it, man. I personally think I want that out of the tournament and out of the pros, because I want to see them be at their best.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And the league does too. You know, they scheduled us for 2 days originally, and due to they have all the marshals flights that they had to rearrange, they had to rearrange booking for hotels. Like, it just was, they couldn't do it for the 2 days. So their heart was for us. Their original plan was for us to have 2 days, but the epidemic that we're in limited us to 1 day of practice. So they did a great job for what short time they had to make audible. But I think I'll agree. Yes, for sure. 2 days is going to make for a better show on in 2 days of practice. You put, some of the top anglers out there and you give them 2 days. Yeah, they're going to figure something out to have a good show with, but yeah.
Let me ask you this, Dave. You spent a lot of years on FLW and obviously crushed it over there. This is your first year at MLF. What are your thoughts? I mean, what are the things you like and don't like? What's your experience over there at MLF?
I've told people, many people, this is that it's like playing the game of poker and playing the game of Texas Hold'em. Both games are incredible. So the 5 bass limit game, it's an awesome game. The MLF style, it's an awesome game. Yeah. I can't weigh in. Both games have their strategy, right? The strategy of every 2-pounder counts and the strategy of the biggest 5 bass. Both of them are great games. It's like the game of chess. Like, it's just it's just 2 different games. And of course, some people like to play poker and not Texas Hold'em, and some people like Texas, and some people who just love to play the game or cards. It don't matter to them, So I will say it lends a little bit more intensity on the MLF side just by knowing and hearing. It doesn't bother me that much, or really at all. You always use it to your advantage. And what I mean by that is that you might be in an area that, say, Ike is in, right? Me and him started in a creek. I don't know. So if I know Ike is in that creek and I've done fish for an hour and a half and haven't had a bite, he's had, 1 bite in an hour and a half, that helps me make a decision on the area that I'm at. If I see the leaderboard like tick, 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 and me and Ike are still sitting down below the, weight. So again, it's just a game. Like you're using you're using every clue to your advantage. So I like both styles. I got to fish the 5 bass again this past, late spring, fish some of those tournaments like at Lake Erie. I love them. And it's just, I can't say one is better than the other. Both games are awesome.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I'd agree with that statement. I fished them both, and I think they both have a place. I know we've got questions piling up, Riz. I want to go to you, and what do we got coming through the IMs for David?
Right. So, David, the Eco Bass Angler on our message board wants to turn the hands of time back just a little bit with you. And he wants to know, one, how did you qualify for your first Bassmaster Classic? And what was the feeling like to know that you were the youngest angler to do it at that point?
Oh, good question.
I qualified through this was the very first year that what they were called the Bassmaster Invitationals. And so when I say everybody, I'm talking every legend from Roland Martin to, of course, everybody, like we had to wait in line. My buddy drove to Birmingham, Alabama, bought a cot. He was the third one to walk in the door, spent the night on the sidewalk to enter me he entered me and him into this Bassmaster Invitational. So I think I finished third for Angler of the Year at 18 years old against everybody you can imagine fished this invitational. So after the 4 tournaments, I was third in Angler of the Year. And I may have won. I don't remember. But anyways, I think third for Angler of the Year, which qualified me for the Bassmasters Classic. And I remember strolling, and I look at a 19-year-old now, and when I see him roll through, and I'm looking at a 19-year-old, and I'm like, dang, I was that young, I was like, oh my gosh, 19 years old and went to the Classic.
Yeah, they're babies.
I pretty much had diapers on, and when we rolled through that Coliseum, and I looked at the packed stadium, and the Coliseum, I was just like, you got to put yourself in you've been doing it for a long time since you were whatever diaper age too. But when you stroll through that college, you're looking around, you're like, yeah, this is what I want. You can imagine a teenager, you're like, yeah, this is it. But I think you knew at a young age, I knew at a young age, we knew what we were meant to do. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't. I told people it's like, as a kid, they're like, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? It was like, I'm going to be a professional bass fisherman, and they would, oh, okay, little boy, okay, like good luck with that. It's like little kids saying, I want to be a professional football player. Of course, at a 5-year-old, you're like, oh, okay, buddy, good luck with that. But Ike, you can. I know you're hearing me because it was like, what do you want to do? And it was like, no, I'm going to be not. I hope to be. No, I'm going to be a professional bass fisher. It was like, and you just it's that confidence. I knew what I wanted to do. So yes, at 19, I was whatever it was, the first year of invitationals that came out, and I finished third for Angler of the Year at 18 years old. And then I just turned 19 when I went in, or 8, whatever it was. And then I won remember when it was called the BP Top 100s? Remember years ago, which is kind of the same term as elite or top or whatever they call it.
I just watched that, David. I just watched that win on the James River.
Yeah. I had a reel fall off my seat. I look at myself back then. I'm like, oh my gosh, I was a teenager. Now. Yeah. So
I remember that tournament was really cool, and you were so young. And who was it? Lynn Dollar. Who has all the Bassmasters?
Yes, Lynn Dollar on YouTube.
Yeah. I was over on YouTube watching you win that tournament, and you were giving us all the dialogue on the brand new Zoom super fleet.
Yeah.
That's funny, man.
That dates it right there. When the fluke was new, that's a long time ago.
You
know what I mean?
God.
That's a long time ago. But it's funny. I was laughing as you were saying that because it is such a parallel to my childhood. And, you know, I would go as far to say even I got it even worse from people because I think, you know, you were from Virginia, so you were right on that line of where it was acceptable to dream that, you know. But the further you got north, you know, you got Maryland and Delaware, then Jersey. By the time you got to Jersey, people looked at you like you had 5 eyes if you said fishing, let alone I want to fish professionally. So I was laughing with you because I remember it, and I got it from middle school all the way through college, all the way even as I was still attempting to do it, and I was a young, you know, a late teen, early 20s. People still would give me a raft of shit for having that dream.
Hey, all right, think about this, how naive we were in our thinking. Like first place back then was $40,000. And if you got a check, it was $1,200. And who in their right mind? Like you're telling people, oh, you can make a living at fishing? If I place I'm going to get $1,200 and my entry fee is $800 and I could bonus about $100. Well, how are you going to pay your bills, you little kid?
Oh, man.
I don't know, but I'm going
It's crazy. It's crazy.
awesome.
It's a reality check. But I want to give everybody watching and listening another reality check right now from the great notes that Brian the Carpenter put together. Over $4 million in career earnings, 4-time, not 1 or 2 or 3, 4-time FLW AOY champion, 7 FLW wins, 2 Bassmaster wins, 53 top 10s for crying out loud. Listen to me. If you win this Red Crest, it's going to push it to $5 million. That's incredible. From a dream as a kid, people laughing at you, making fun of you, to this. It's pretty incredible, dude. You got to feel proud about that.
I wish I could pull my sleeves up now. No joke. 2 goosebumps on my arms are goosebumped up. I mean, that's real passion right there. Just listening to those stats, people making fun of you as a kid. You know, of course, my teachers and, you know, reading my Bassmaster magazines in between my history book and, you know, all that kind of stuff. I'm sure you got ragged as a kid.
Oh, yeah.
We, you know, it didn't matter because, you know, in life, if you want something bad, we live in the greatest country in the world. If you want something bad enough, it doesn't mean you might not be at the top of your game, or you might not be at the top of whatever you're trying to go to. But at least in this world, or in this country, you're going to have it. You can present yourself an opportunity. And it's how hard you want to work for it, you know? How hard do you – and I think, you know, when we would go – and I'm sure you did the same thing. Like when we went fishing in our creek, fishing for minnows, that wasn't playtime to me or you. That wasn't playtime of saying, yeah, I'm just going to go catch some minnows. No, that was us studying the creek, us studying where the fish were at, us learning how to catch a minnow or a creek chub. That was us putting ourselves through college at 6 years old, 7 years old. It was something we wanted to do. And even though when we would ride our bicycles to the local pond and just fish our heart out and get chased off by the farmers and all the neighbors, and we'd sneak in there at night throwing buzzbait. I mean, all that was for a goal that we wanted to do. So we live in a great country, and it's nice to be where I'm at. I'm very blessed, no doubt.
I'd agree with that. Riz, I know you're backed up. Give us a couple more. What do you got else? What else you got coming through the IMs?
Yeah, David. Frank Polifrone, Frankie Provolone wants to know, how are you going to manage this year fishing on the MLF and also with your role in the NPFL?
Ooh,
Frankie Stinky Cheese.
We you know, crazy enough, I think there's only one conflict as of right now, right? There's only one conflict with the tournament schedule, and depending on how I do in the tournament, I could, you know, remotely be part of that show too. So it really wasn't much of a deal of handling it. It was just looking at the schedule and saying, could I fit this in? And crazy enough, they didn't conflict anything. So, but the one, so that's why I agreed to come on board. And I'm sure a lot of people, I'm a live addict. I mean, I'm like a live addict. And I've said, watching live fishing online, it's not the shows you watch on YouTube or the shows you watch on whatever network that they're on. All that is ESPN Sports Center highlight films. You don't get to see the true story of Ike struggling like he did, for a little bit. All of a sudden, Ike made one change and he got to catapult himself, up to the top of the leaderboard. Well, you got to watch that. It's like watching the game of, it doesn't matter, football back. You get to watch them, punt 4 times and not get 20 yards in any attempt. And then the next thing you know, they go down to the field and score a touchdown. That's the only thing you see. You didn't see them make the adjustments of went from a running game to a passing game to an audible game, and it's the same thing in fishing. You get to watch the whole game. So I'm a crack addict. Not that sounded bad. I'm not a crack addict, but I'm an addict. Yeah. It's like a drug to me is what I was trying to refer to. It's a drug watching live because you get to watch the whole game, and hopefully I'll be able to bring some light to the viewers of NPFL of what's really going through their heads, being able to talk them through it.
Yeah. Well,
it's Mike, there was either you or Dudley had that quote that you guys got a lot of heat for, that bass fishing is more addictive than crack cocaine.
Yeah.
Which one of you guys said that? Who said that?
I may have said it. I don't know. I might have. I don't know.
I know David has compared the Senko to that of crack cocaine for
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I agree with everything you said about the live coverage, and I think you're going to be like, when I look at your personality with the other guys that are there with Fat Cat, with Luke, I think you guys are. I cannot wait to watch it. I think you guys are going to have an awesome program. The thing I was the most shocked about, and this is Ike Live, so I'm being honest. The thing I was most shocked about wasn't that you were in that role, but that MLF allowed you to take that role. Did they give you any? Were you held back at all by them, or no?
No, and I think I read through our contracts, right? I actually called Kathy. I called Boyd Duckett.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, look, I said, I got an opportunity for a job. This is a job. We're in the fishing industry. This is just a job. And I said, hey, I got an opportunity to do this. I said, I will never talk, bad or do any comparisons of leagues, like whatever, like this league is, I said, I'm only there to talk fishing. And they said, Dudley, we have no problem with that. No,
wow.
Go ahead. There's, so I think, the main thing is they don't want in the NPFL's heart is the same way. They're just giving an opportunity for people to fish, to learn about fishing.
Yeah.
It's a league started. It's giving more people an opportunity to chase a dream and make some major money. And so they had no problem. I called, I took every appropriate step, and it's,
good.
I don't have anything negative to say about NMLF or Bassmasters or NPFL. We're all in this together, man.
Yeah.
We're creating fishing people out of, high school, college now. And it's awesome. The more people we get involved in the sport, I don't see how it's a detriment, Let's just get people involved.
That's awesome. I'm telling you, that's the second thing I've heard about MLF tonight that I'm like, ooh, nice call, MLF. I usually don't say that. I'm kind of pleasantly surprised tonight at hearing some good things.
This is like therapy for you,
It's like
Mike.
I know. It's like therapy for me.
Dave, thank you for
tonight.
doing this
Yeah,
for
thank you
Michael.
for being my therapist tonight. Speaking of therapy, I want to bring this up, and this is gonna sound strange, but I want to explain myself. On paper, David, you and I look extremely different on paper. You know, where we grew up fishing, you know, maybe our personalities a little bit are different. We've got some differences, but we've got a lot of things in common too. And I could run down a lot of them. You're huge into kids fishing. You started young. We talked about the comparisons of dreaming about the sport. We've got some great similarities there. But we've got one that's really similar, and I want to flush this out with you, is that you have been one of the, if not the most, one of the most outspoken pros out there. And you've been that way from the beginning. I remember, you probably don't remember this, but I remember meeting you at 1,000 Islands Invitational. That's how long ago it was. And I was at like a custard shack. And it was like the only place in Clayton that you could get a meal at night. And we both practiced dark to dark. And I remember meeting you there for the first time, like having a long conversation with you. And you were outspoken then. And you've been that way your whole career. And you know, being outspoken is a good thing and it's a bad thing. You know, I think it's good and we need it in our sport. But you get criticism for it. And I do too. When you look at your career, you know, has that been a good thing for you? Has that been a good thing, being outspoken and speaking your mind? And because I'm the same way, you know.
I think, we both are, and I'm. There's times where I wish I would have bit my tongue a little bit more, or been a little bit more careful in the way I've said things or my approach, but I've come to accept the fact you're going to have David Dudley fans and you're going to have David Dudley haters, right? Yeah. You're going to have Ike fans. We can't please everybody. And remember years ago when internet had just started coming out, and I think it was Bass Fishing Homepage used to have this chat room. Remember that chat room?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was in there.
People, this was years ago, you know. And then people would go in and somebody would say, Dudley, they're talking about you. So, you know, I said something back. I know y'all remember the Roland Martin where they thought I was trying to outfish everybody on the whole lake with sight fish, which is so stupid.
Oh, yeah.
So I would go to these chat rooms.
Yep, yeah, I remember.
And I would try to defend myself.
Yeah.
And then I remember my mom saying, David, she said, look, she goes, you're wasting your time. Like, you cannot take this personal. You're an outspoken guy.
Yeah.
And like you said, and I said, we're going to offend people. We are. Here's how stupid this is. You could say, or whatever, you catch a fish and you just, you went Ike, right? The statement. How does that, people will hate you because you got passionate about a fish. How stupid is that? Yeah. Right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you're going to have David Dudley fans where I told Pete or Roland Martin, Pete Tharabella or whatever, I said, y'all a bunch of babies. I said, go put some diapers on, you know? And then people got all upset at me. And so yes, basically telling you the long story, I've accepted the fact you're going to have David Dudley haters and you're going to have David Dudley fans, right? Yeah. I can't please everybody. And I got thick skin and people can run their mouth, do what they want. Yeah. And I think you got thick skin and it's okay. Has there been times when I said some stuff? Yeah. Like didn't approach it in the right way. Yeah, of course, I wish I could retract, but for the most part, I think the approach that you have, the approach that I have, I think it's necessarily, it's tough conversations that you might talk about or I talk about, but it needs to be said. That's how you grow. Yeah. You're going to grow that.
Yeah. I appreciate it. I think our sport in general is sort of always a little behind and backwards from mainstream the world. And to have people that are outspoken is good. It's good for the sport. We need it. I'm so glad you are the way you are. And I think a little of it comes not just from straight haters, but I think a little of it comes from jealousy too. I think, people see success. They see your success, David, and I think they get jealous. I know I've dealt with some of that early in my career. I know you did as well. I can remember there were a few events, where guys are trying to I've been protested before. I know you have, I'm telling you, a lot of that stemmed from jealousy, And I don't hate the leagues for it. I don't even hate the people that did it, but I'm telling you, that's where it comes from.
Maybe a little bit.
Maybe a couple of them, but for the most part, I don't,
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree that you're going to, whatever their motive is, it's like, when you are an outspoken guy, right, and you're putting yourself out there to, people's feelings are going to get hurt very easily, some way or another, and if you don't have thick skin, it's typically not best to hang around me because I'm kind of a straight shooter,
Yeah.
And I know it's going to offend people in what we say and how we do it. But again, it goes back to the point. It's like having a tough conversation as a dad or a mom.
Yeah.
Like, you're sitting your kid down and be like, hey, we're going to have a heart-to-heart talk, and it's good to hear, that stuff in a way. And I thought about this when you were talking a second ago, Mike, is that I think the passion that comes through me and you is because me and you started about at the same time. Like, so we've seen the $1,200 checks. We've seen the $1 million checks. We've seen the $500,000 checks. We've seen the evolution of this sport come to play. And since we have seen not the whole history, but the major growth of this sport, me and you, we love it. We want to see this sport grow.
Yeah.
We want to see more anglers I don't want to see fighting. I don't want to see bickering. I don't want to see name calling. Just shut it up.
Yeah.
I want to see more kids get involved, and I want to see this sport grow. And I want more opportunities for kids to come away and say, I won $4.2 million. I'm at almost $5 million. I've done, whatever it is. Like, it's just, but I think our passion, when we get frustrated, like you, Mike, and we may hear some bickering going on in the league of, the league did this or the league did that. There's bickering, but when we have seen it from the beginning through now, and we've lived it, our passion, your passion, my passion is going to be at a greater high. Because why? Because we've lived it.
Yeah.
We've lived everything there. We've kind of seen everything there is, and nothing new under the sun to us, right?
Yeah.
So we don't want to see failure in any league. I don't want to see, not that any league's going to fail, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, just I want to see growth, man.
Yeah.
Growth is good.
Yeah, growth's key. Dave, I know you've got a question for David.
I do, Dave. I want to go back to when you're 18, 19 years old. Now, your father, James, was a legend, BFL, FLW guy, and may he rest in peace. I guess you were more, like, even though you were 18 or 19 with the success you had, with having a stud for a dad like you did, do you think you were more like 30 when you were 19 in terms of knowledge and composure on the water?
My dad would answer this. He answered it better than I did, but my dad, I'm just paraphrasing basically what my dad said. In any sport, like all of your kids are going to be different, right? I've been playing racquetball now for 20 years, right? 20 years of playing racquetball. I play about 4 times a week, 2 hours a day. And my son, who is now in his 7th month of playing, has already been beating me. He beat me for the first time after 4 months.
Wow.
But the reason I'm saying that is this. My dad answered that question this way. He said, I brought David to a level, and once he hit that level and I knew there was nothing more for me to teach, he said David took it to a whole nother level that I can't even comprehend. And I look at my son in racquetball. I taught him what I thought I knew the game of racquetball, but ultimately it's people grasping. Some people just, I'm not saying I got it. I'm not sitting here saying, but yes, my dad got me started. I fished with him a lot, but ultimately I just got out of high school. It won't like I'm fishing with dad every weekend. I played every sport there was.
Yeah.
But ultimately it's some people got it, and some people don't. And my dad said, I got him here, but he took it. Basically he surpassed me and he's teaching me now,
Yeah.
So
one more question
I agree
about
with
your
that.
dad. I met him about 16 years ago. I had a little small conversation. He wouldn't remember me, but I remembered him. Powerful guy. I guess if you could pass on to people listening, like, did he give you any life hacks that you can pass on? What I mean by that is, a guy I worked with's dad, son of an immigrant Polish guy, said he will never eat at a restaurant until he goes and looks at the back steps and the trash area. If the back steps are clean, nothing, no goo on it, no crates stacked on it, and the trash area is clean, it means the kitchen is clean, and he'll eat there.
Wow.
Now, I'm saying, is your dad, old school guy, does he have anything like that he gave you?
wow. Oh, dang.
It's a good one, Ross, by the way.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got to pass down those recipes, man. I try to.
Man, you throw out a life hack like that, I don't know how I could follow that one up. Now every restaurant I go eat at, I want to be doing steak.
Yeah. I had to stop going to Chili's in Deptford.
Yeah, well, listen, I don't know if you should have just said that. You got to remember, he's in Eufaula, Alabama. You know the restaurants in Eufaula, Alabama?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
You're going to have a waitress back there booting up.
It's unbelievable. But it is true, what you said about influence. Like, my uncle had an influence on me like that, for sure. And I think when you look at a lot of great athletes, in other sports, you see that same story where, someone pushed them to a certain level, but they took it further themselves, and I think you see that in a lot of great athletes in whatever sport,
Yeah.
So that's.
No, I can't get enough of the life hacks, man. Brian's brother used to drop a couple back when we were kids, man.
Oh yeah, the old geezer, man.
Bill's
we had
cousin.
an old timer used to work for us, and we got a ton of them from old Mark.
Life hacks are great.
Yeah, you never want to be the guinea pig. You don't want to be that guy that put in the first generation Trex deck or Pergo floor. It's all trash now.
Pergo.
But give that stuff about 10 years, and it'll be great.
There you have it. Let me remind you, if you're watching over on Facebook, like, share the feed, and a contest to win the Ike Life gift bag. Also, we want to hear from you. If you've got a question or comment for David or anything you're hearing on tonight's show, please hit us up on our IM. Also, you can hit us up on our social media feed at Ike Life Show, Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Rizzo, what do you got? I know you're stacked up. Brian Carpenter, you got a couple too. What do you guys got?
Yeah, I got Daniel Rodriguez on Facebook. David, then this goes back a bit when we were talking about your almost $5 million. David, what have you done with all the money?
Daniel Rodriguez.
Yeah, I of course, winning, it takes a lot to participate in the sport. So, yes, number-wise, and I think most professional fishermen will, number-wise, it looks great on paper, but, when you're paying $5,000 entry fees and on average $2,000 to go participate each week and motel. So you're only bonusing maybe $3,000 a week if you get a check.
Yeah.
So numbers on paper look good. Just being honest, it's not. That's my pockets didn't really go that deep with those tournament winnings. So but what I have invested in is real estate. I got a lot of real estate. I got 16 rental properties. So I actually, we're big into Airbnb. And so I got 6 billboards now. So I like mailbox money. I like walking to the mailbox. I want my money working for me. I don't want to be working for my money. So I've done some investment in real estate and rentals, basically.
That's a
That's
good
awesome.
place to.
That's
to-
awesome. Yeah, that's
put
great.
Put your money.
Yeah, Brian, what else you got?
Let's see. Scott Easel. Sorry, Scott. On YouTube.
Scott Easel, YouTube. What do you got?
Dave, with the new diet, what are your favorite on the water snacks?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Actually, my favorite, and I would tell anybody this, is that those protein shakes it's Premier Protein. It's 160 calories and it's only 2 carbs and 1 sugar. And basically what I've told people, it's like when you get low on gas in your truck or whatever, you get low on, what do? You just put fuel in. Calories are nothing but fuel, right? So when you're feeling hungry, all you're going to do is put gas, quote unquote gas. So these protein shakes that you can buy, they're called Premier Protein. You can get them at Walmart or Sam's Club, buy them by the cases. They average out at like $1.50 a piece. So think about it. If you went to Chick-fil-A, it's a $9.50 number one meal, right? So if you drink 2 of them, you just had lunch for $3. But money's not the issue. Basically, those protein drinks are what I use on the go. I put them in my work truck, my traveling truck, my boat. Everywhere I'm going to be, they're at my fingertips, and it's just fuel. And I look at protein shakes as fuel. So besides that, I do eat a lot of meats and salads, and I'm kind of a, weird. I kind of eat like, I don't even know how to say it, but I'm kind of a gay eater, Now I don't eat any, sugars or carbs or any of that. I'm on the keto thing. So protein shakes, I would encourage everybody. They don't sponsor me or nothing, but it sure does help getting calories in your body so you can make it to supper, or you can just all day. There's been countless days where I just drank protein shakes and got 1,500 calories of shakes, and I'm fine. You don't need all that carbs and sugars and fats anyways. So yes, protein shakes, big fan of them.
There you go. Rizzo, I know you're backed up too. Give us a couple good ones. What do you got?
So David, the Buck Stronghold Gentleman Bronco wants to know, in your opinion, who has a better beard, Luke Duncan or Paul Benson?
Ooh.
Dang, I'm gonna have to go with Luke.
Yeah, Luke's pretty strong.
I looked at him hard the other day, and Paul had a few crumbs in his and a little bit, and Luke had a lot more gray in his beard. So I take gray as wisdom. So I'm going to have to go with Luke and count Paul out on this one. I'm just Paul. I love you, but those Cheetos that were stuck in your beard. I'm going to have to go with Luke.
And the big boy wants to know, David, when you're not tournament fishing, how often are you fishing? Or are you fishing every day? Is it twice a day? How often you get out?
The last cast I made was at Lake Erie. So I was cutting my smallmouth baits off in February.
Wow.
That's great. Yeah.
Wow.
That's
a while.
I don't bass fish. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a while ago. That actually leads into I was checking Facebook and Instagram while you were answering that, and I've got one from each I want to hit. And this goes into this same topic. And this one's from Instagram from Ed Sekula. And Ed wants to know, he's heard Jacob Prosnick say that you're a better saltwater fisherman than you are a freshwater fisherman. Ed wants to know, is that true?
I love my saltwater fishing. I know I've seen a lot of your posts now with stripers, and a lot of your saltwater stuff from this year. I love saltwater fishing. That is my passion. Yeah. I love I'm not prejudiced. And when you're a non-prejudiced fisherman and you're out in the saltwater, it's game on. So I don't know if I could say I'm a better fisherman, but I can answer it this way. I enjoy saltwater fishing more than I do bass fishing.
Wow.
Bass fishing frustrates the snot out of me. It's like I love the game of chess, but I hate that game. I hate it with a passion. I mean, it just makes me so frustrating and mad. But bass fishing, and you know it. I mean, it takes us. It's like we're bipolar. You know, it's like it's like we're bipolar. At the end of the week, we go from these roller coaster of emotions to highs and lows. And no, saltwater is just like, let's go out and catch 100 speckled trout. Let's go out and catch 200 stripers. They're schooling out there underneath the seagulls. Let's go drift the eel around and catch, some giant stripers. Let's go amberjack fishing. Let's go flounder fishing, which I love to do. It's just, anyway, so my passion is saltwater, but, bass fishing, of course, is competitive, but darn if it don't frustrate the snot out of me.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
I like anything that pulls back, but an interesting fact is that you'll hardly ever meet a saltwater guy that became a bass fisherman, but you meet a lot of saltwater guys that became saltwater anglers. They used to bass fish, and they never looked back.
Yep.
Dude, I cannot tell you how many
interesting.
saltwater guys I've met that were like, I used to bass fish, and then I saltwater fish, and I don't bass fish anymore. And I'm like, I get it. I can
Dude,
totally
if I lived
it.
in Florida between the snook and the tarpon,
That's what I mean. Dude, would you ever bass fish
I don't.
again?
I probably would.
You
But
might sprinkle a
just
little
out of
in.
convenience.
Yeah.
But dude, come on.
It's crazy. I know.
That's an awesome analogy. I'm just shaking my head, agreeing with you. I'm trying to think, have I ever heard something? Nope. I've never heard that before. It's always that way. That's an awesome thought, man.
Yeah. It's so true. And then over on Facebook, this is not really a question. It's just a comment. And this one's from Steve Pellegrino. And Steve says, David, you're the only person that has an open mouth in your photos more than Mike. So I guess you open your mouth a lot in pictures of.
No. The king of the mouth opening is Scott Martin. Every single, no doubt. Scott Martin. I don't know how, millions of insects ain't flying in that mouth. Man, I know. Me and Ike do it a little bit, but I don't know if you went back and. I don't know. I'm gonna have to go back and look at my Instagram to see if I have my mouth open a lot, but I didn't think I did.
I had a note here, and I want to bring this up because I think this is an interesting topic for a lot of people watching and listening. I have a note from Brian the Carpenter that coon hunting is like you love it. It's on the top of your list of things to do. Talk a little bit about that because in this part of the world we don't do it, but I want to hear your thoughts on it. It sounds interesting.
It is. Coon hunting is something that I've done since before I could drive. My mom and dad used to drop me off at this older guy's house, and we actually used lanterns back then, not lights, lanterns.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So we would walk around with our lanterns and with the dogs, and they would go around and find the coons for us and put them up the tree. But coon hunting to me, you talk about me, when I walk away from fishing after a season, it's kind of done. Everybody's got their different opinions. Some people fish all the time. I was actually talking to Todd Faircloth about that tonight. But coon hunting is my deep breath, right? It's my and it's just exercise. Like really, it's just decompressing to me. You go out with friends and you just walk around and you talk about life. It's a decompression to me, and it's a fun sport. It's a fun experience in hunting. So yes, coon hunting is been a huge part of my life for the longest time. So it's just a deep breath for me.
Hey, Dave, you got to forgive me because where you're at, I know everyone knows, but I don't know. Like, what do you do with the raccoon after you kill it?
The hide market is not as good as it's been in the last 5 years. Skin them out. You can sell them, of course, sell them to the fur market. We've actually eaten, a few of the coons. The first time we did it. Remember that show that was called Dare or something, or Fear Factor? Remember
Yeah.
Fear Factor?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So we skinned a coon out, and we had a coon that we skinned completely out, looked like a naked giant rat, right? Even skin his tail out. So we went, did something that day. The very next day, I had a bunch of college kids over at the house and said, y'all want to do some Fear Factor? Like, yeah. So we grabbed the coon, and we had a bonfire going. I said, all right. I said, whoever eats the most of this coon wins. So we go and throw the thing directly in the fire. And I'll never forget watching the intestines boiling inside of him, and where we shot him, you could see the liquids oozing out of the hole in his stomach. Well, so we threw it on the table, black charred as you can get, and we started cutting in on this thing. And even some of my kids ate it. I don't care. My kids are awesome eaters. So we started cutting. So it came down to me and this dude, and we were just mauling on this coon. And then all of a sudden, we didn't have any more muscle left on this coon. I sliced open his guts, right? And there's the intestines, the heart, the liver, the everything. And I go, all right, buddy. I said, we ain't got nothing left. I said, let's go. He reaches down and cuts off a big chunk, like a 50-cent piece, part of the liver. And he goes, boom. He threw it in his mouth and swallowed it. I said, you win. I lose. I wasn't even about to go there. I was just going to see if he did it. But I didn't mind eating the coon. You know, I mean, it was just like a dark mussel. It really had so much burnt taste to it. I couldn't taste it. But when he sliced a piece of that liver off and threw it in his mouth, I was like, yep, you win, buddy. I ain't even attempted that.
Now, are you glad that no one could have recorded your Serbian picnic, or do you wish you had video footage of it? Man?
That would have been good. That would have went viral.
Oh yeah, that's like moments in life you have with friends and family. I mean, really, there's nothing wrong with eating coon. I mean, I don't know why it's such a negative thing. It's not a normal thing that you eat, but
it's meat.
You know, third world countries, and they would never snub their nose at a coon, you know,
especially the organ meat, the heart and the liver. That's where all the vitamins are.
I actually, because of Steve Ranelli, the meat eater, I kept seeing him rave about eating hearts. So this year I killed a deer one day, and I took the heart out and I put it on Instagram. I just ate the raw heart, just deer heart, and it was awesome.
God,
like sushi style.
Yeah. Really? That's interesting.
Yeah,
what
absolutely.
Is there? Can you give us a taste comparison? Is there something?
Yeah, I thought it was going to have a high iron taste, and it really wasn't. There's so much filtration through the heart that after the kill, it was like, it was very smooth. So because the heart filters so much blood, it was like eating silk. It wasn't grained muscle. Okay. It was like eating a hard piece of silk, or not a hard, but a firm piece of silk. It was a silky muscle, not a grained muscle. So it really, I'll never throw another heart away again because of meat eater Steve Ranelli. So yes, heart is going to be plucked out. I wish I never would have thrown away the hearts the rest.
Wow. For those of you that don't know who he's talking about with Steve Ranell, you got to go to YouTube, Steve Ranell grizzly attack story. Oh my God, him and his buddies camp. Dave, you know the story I'm talking about? Him and his buddies camp. One of them took a ride on the back of a grizzly. One of the most rad guy stories ever, dude.
Oh my God. Yeah.
He's an awesome dude.
Great channel. I tell you what, just after those last two stories, my appreciation for you, David, has gone up like 5 notches. I'm just telling you. I thought you were hardcore before, but I'm on a whole next level.
He's eating raw heart, dude.
That's hardcore.
I know. I feel like a puss.
That's hardcore.
I know. I think when I eat a raw clam, I'm like a man in the woods.
I know. Yeah.
I feel like
I'm a man of the forest.
I feel like I totally wasted my day. I didn't.
I know.
You didn't kill a deer and eat its beating heart.
Nothing.
It's gross. You had Wendy's. It's fucking gross, bro.
I didn't have Wendy's, but
I want to. I know we're not going to keep you all night. You've got a big day ahead of you, but I do want to. I want to sort of end this by talking about what's next, because we talk to a lot of guys on the show, And the what next is pretty easy to see, right? You know, a guy says, the next for me is I want to win this tournament, or the next for me is I'm going to retire, or the next. But you've got this track record where you've kind of done everything in the sport. You've accomplished a lot of what people aspire to accomplish in their career. So, you know, I'm looking at your announcing gig. I'm looking at some of these other things. I'm looking at your YouTube. You know, you're really pushing into this world. But what's next, Dave? What do you got coming?
Wow. Yeah, I think if you are a competitive guy, whatever is in front of you is what the next thing is going to be.
Yeah.
But I think if I was to put a finger on what I think would the next goal, I've done, you know, I've won the FLW championships. I've won Angler of the Years. I've won Bassmaster tournaments. I've won FLW tournaments. I've won Ultimate Match Fishing. I've done some live commentary. You know, truly, I think I want some titles in this league. You know, I want titles in the Major League Fishing League. You know, I think, you know, it gives me something to strive for. You know, it's like, so I'm going to say right now, the present of where I'm at, just like, I think if you're competitive enough, whatever at the moment, and you're always about fish the moment, you know, I think whatever is in front of you at the moment, that's what I aspire to accomplish. And Angler of the Year comes that way too. People, I don't enter the season. Like, I got 4 Angler of the Year titles, but I don't enter my season going, you know, what's your goal? I'm going to win Angler of the Year. You know, I mean, everybody wants to win Angler of the Year, but that's not my focus. Right. My focus is not Angler of the Year. My focus is really not about winning that tournament at that moment. At that moment, day one, like when we start it tomorrow, I want to be the best there can be in that day, right? Angler of the Year is going to fall in your lap, right? And when I say fall in your lap, if you focus every day in the course of the season, and you like narrow that focus to a streamline, and this is a cool, interesting thing, like a dove's eye, right? A dove's eye can only focus on one thing at a time. And there was this song that this girl wrote. And actually she was a Christian writer, and she was praying. She was like, give me dove's eyes. And I was like, what the heck? Why would you ask for dove's eyes? Yeah. So I got to reading about it, and a dove's eye can only focus on one thing at a time. And what she was saying was she wanted to focus on God and only God.
That's poetic.
And that's what she wanted her eyes. But I correlate that even into fishing, that if you focus your attention minute by minute, second by second, hour by fishing the moment, like you're so big about, if you focus on that, Angler of the Year is going to fall in your lap. You know, the tournament win is going to fall into your lap. So I of course I would love to, you know, what do I kind of want? I want some titles over here. You know, I've got titles in both, you know, kind of both leagues, and I wouldn't mind some titles over here. But, you know, I think my heart is, as well as Ike, you know, ultimately we want to see this sport grow. We want to see this sport go to higher levels. You know, we want to see as many kids get jacked up about going catching creek chubs in the bottom of a creek, you know, in somebody's backyard or something. You know, I want to see that passion going for the kids.
I want to see more kids with the lanterns at nighttime killing raccoons.
Me too. Hey, kids in the outdoors.
With Uncle Eddie at the end of the block, whatever his name was.
Kids in the outdoors are a good thing.
I'm going to tell you one more funny story. Here's a funny story talking about lanterns. So these red suckers and white suckers as kids, well, they still do it. They they come out of the major rivers and run up these little tiny creeks to go spawn like salmon. You've probably done it, or you know about it, Ike. So these suckers come up. So we used to carry lanterns and we would take frog gigs, and we would wade in these creeks and gig these suckers, and these folks would make fish cakes out of them. So I was walking up the creek, and I'm like, I got my eye centered on one of them, and he's going up the creek. Well, he does a U-turn, and I got my frog gig ready, buddy. I'm going to spear him right in the skull. He starts coming down the creek. And I kind of got my legs wide open, and I'm holding the lantern in my left hand and spear in the right hand. And just as he got ready to go between my legs, he did that quick movement. So I didn't judge it right. So I kind of went backwards to try to get him between my legs. Well, the current pulled my frog gig faster. And when I jammed down, I went straight into the top of my foot and out the bottom of my foot.
Hold on, Dave, it went through?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
It went between the webbing of my big toe and, like that little webbing area.
Yeah.
So, my waders are filling up with water, right? And I'm freaking out. My best friend's name is Pee-wee. I said, Pee-wee, I done gigged my foot. He's like, what? I said, I gigged my foot, and my spear is sitting there in my foot. And all of a sudden, I hit the panic button, and I jerked the frog gig out. And it's got huge barbs on it. So I get up there, and we pull my waders off. And when we pull my waders off, I look down. That night when I got home, I could take a Q-tip from the top of my foot down through the bottom of my foot.
Dang.
And I was playing baseball at the time. And when I was playing – and I was so embarrassed to tell – and I was a starting center fielder. I was so embarrassed to tell my coach what I did. I told him I sprained my ankle, and I didn't tell people that I gigged my foot because that was kind of embarrassing. I had to sit out for a couple games.
You would never live that down, Dave, if you admitted to spearing yourself. That's it. Yeah.
Oh, man. I got that spear. Pee-wee, he actually had that spear, and he goes, Dudley. He goes, you remember us going gigging? Of course. He goes, here's that spear. I jerked it out of his hand. It's now in my trophy room.
Wow.
In my house.
Yes, memorabilia.
Spear to this day. Yeah.
Wow.
I respect that.
Dude, it's crazy when you tell a story like that.
Yes.
If you're an out, if you've experienced the outdoors, dude, I was living it. As you were describing that, I felt the pain as you were gigging your own foot, and I was like, I just started shriveling up. It's like seeing. You ever go through Instagram or social media and you see a picture of a treble hook in somebody's finger?
Oh yeah.
You feel the pain every time you see the picture. I just felt that gig go through my foot.
I'm going to tell you what I was thinking. I wish Dave was living up here and he was a part of our inner circle. So when he called me, the ringtone would be, Pee-wee, I done gigged my foot. That'd be the ringer. That'd be his voice. I would take it right off this, dude.
Be awesome ringtone.
We got it now.
We got it now. Man, I got to tell you, so many pieces of amazing information tonight. The stories were so good. The piece about Dove's Eye, about one day at a time, dude, I think that's why you won 4 AOYs. And I think that's why you're probably going to win another one. That focus, Pete, is, there's a lot of great anglers out there, but there's not a lot that have that kind of focus to take a day at a time, and hats off to you for that. Real quick, I just have one other question. You've accomplished so much. I know MLF titles are something in your future. Is a Bass, BASS AOY, and BASS Classic something you might venture back to Bass eventually and try to conquer those as well?
Just got goosebumps on my arms. Does that answer your question?
I like it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I don't know if there's an angler out there that has accomplished. So let's think about this. Of course, you're a classic winner. Here's a question. Has there been a fisherman who has won an elite style tournament of Bassmaster, the top level, and has an AOI title and has a classic title now, who also has an AOI title on FLW win, and FLW championship. That is the ultimate Grand Slam. Will we see that in our sport? I'm going to throw that at you. Will we see, or it might be, but will we see somebody who has a Grand Slam? The only person I'm thinking maybe is Davey Height. Maybe? Does he have an AOI title?
I don't know. Pete, are you?
He
Are you?
does have.
Can you be a
Ike's
quick?
won two AOYs at Bassmaster.
Yeah.
What about on FLW?
I'm not sure. What about Fritz?
What about
he comes
Hackney?
to mind?
I know
Fritz
Hackney's
has
got
won.
Hackney's got an FLW championship. Hackney's got
Right.
a AOY, doesn't he? FLW or no? Or no, just the championship. That's a
Yeah.
great question. That might be Ken
Well,
Duke.
there-
Ken Duke
Yeah,
trivia.
that's a
definitely
Ken Duke question.
Yeah.
Hackney
Sure.
had a pot of skunk apes scoping him too. You
Oh, I saw
picture?
that. Oh, yeah. I did see that. Yeah.
Kumar doubled down. He just posted another one about a half hour ago.
Did he?
See what I opened the door to? Now
He's
they
going
can
deep.
do it without shame.
I know. I know.
That's all right.
Shame anybody that believes in Bigfoot. We're going to shame them.
No.
Oh, no. We believe it too.
Hold on. You're just saying words. Which two anglers have the most FLW Cup appearances?
Well, I would say David Dudley,
And
Scott Martin.
Duds? Who you got?
Me and Andy Morgan.
That's correct.
Wow.
At 21.
That's a lot.
Most ever.
Most ever in the history of the world. David, before we let you go, do me a favor. Give me a plug. There's people watching. If somebody's under a rock, they haven't already been following you. How can they follow you on social media and YouTube? What can they go to?
All right. So if you YouTube, I'm David Dudley Outdoors. And of Instagram, David Dudley Fish. And on Facebook, David Dudley. So that's me on the social media world.
There you have it. Well,
All right.
All right,
yeah,
all right.
Brian, what do you got?
I got a couple more, dude.
Oh, hit me. What do you got?
Ken Duke had sent me some stuff earlier when we were in scramble mode.
Okay.
Just getting to it now. Who has the most cumulative weight in Forest Wood Cup history?
Cumulative weight
Yes.
in cup history.
Yeah, 469 pounds plus. Go ahead, Dave.
David Dudley or Andy Morgan?
I would have to guess me or Andy, but if we went to a lake where I don't know. I've been to, so I don't know.
It's you, Doug.
I'm going to say me.
Yep.
How about that?
Wow.
Yeah, and Thrift is second, just 3 pounds back.
Wow.
Although
Wow,
he's
okay.
fished it 8 less times.
Wow.
Well, what's sad?
He was,
Hey,
he was coming
yeah.
for you.
what's sad is I'll be the top of that stat the rest of my life,
Forever.
Yep.
forever.
That's right.
Right? If you think about it, right? Me and Andy will have that title the rest of our life.
Weighed in the most fish in Forest Wood Cup history?
Yeah, because there's no more Forest Wood Cups
That's
anymore.
right. Youngest angler to ever win a BASS tournament.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got that one.
James Earl.
And there you go.
There you go. Ken Duke, thank you for all those
Yeah.
historical pieces of tidbits. They were great.
Skunk apes.
Skunk apes. David, thank you for coming on the show, dude. We had so much fun catching up with you, and wishing you a lot of luck this week, man. One day of practice is rough, but you're the kind of angler that can do it. Wish you a lot of luck in this tournament and the whole season. We're going to be following you and watching you. Wish you a lot of luck.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, and hopefully we'll get together again soon.
Yes, sir. There you have it. David Dudley, everybody, on Ike Live.
Eyes like a dove.
Dude, that was awesome.
Or Vlad the Impaler.
Dude,
that was great, man.
Pete, you got to admit, Pete, that was the analogy of taking one day at a time is something that is such an important thing, and we hardly ever talk about it like that.
Yep. And you found folks, he's very cerebral and just super smart about the way that he thinks about things. He always was in his assessment of his fishing, and you could see it. I can't tell what I'm more freaked out about though was him cooking a raccoon and watching the stuff boil out through the hole that
best story we've
in
ever had.
the raccoon.
That's probably
It's one of the better ones.
Probably the best story. I've
Doug's
ever heard.
still here listening, by the way.
Or I can't imagine. I mean, I've seen those frog gigs before. The barbs on them are huge.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine ripping that out of your own foot.
No.
That is a man's man.
Yeah, Pete, by the
right
way,
there.
somebody suggested you do that. You eat the guts of that squirrel that's been tearing up your boat.
That's right. You having a squirrel issue still, aren't you, Pete?
Yeah,
I'm grossed out by all the talk here, but the hostility I have for that squirrel I'm in.
Dave,
You got to eat his heart, dude.
Dave, Pete's been getting his ass beat by a squirrel.
He's getting into my boat. He's biting and ripping and tearing at my brand new sheets.
Why don't you just put a squirrel trap underneath the cover?
Well, I mean, I'm thinking I'm going to be a little bit more harsh than that.
Well, no, then you fill a trash can full of water and you throw the whole cage in the trash can.
It has nothing to do with my seats, honestly. He's grabbing stuff, and then he decides he wants to eat in my boat. He goes under the cover there and eats and makes
probably
nasty.
Riz after all night drinking, going home to the wrong house.
That's what I would do.
He's grabbing stuff. He's stripping his fucking teeth at me. He's snapping at me.
That was great.
Man,
but you know what?
That was a great interview, man.
Yeah, dude.
I think about that comment, and I remember it now. It was David because he was saying like bass fishing is more addictive than crack cocaine, and he was saying it in the manner that he loved fishing.
Yeah.
And it got construed completely sideways on him, and it took a negative heat in the media. But that was
whatever.
You know,
whatever.
That was him way back when.
Yeah.
Hey, when he brought up the bass fishing homepage, my call sign was Big Head Fast Boat. It was, dude. It was Big Head Fast Boat.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Did you get in on that?
Yeah, I was deep in it.
It's awesome. Did you ever brawl with anybody?
I don't think so, man. No, I don't remember that. I used to do that in the law enforcement forums. I got thrown out of most of them.
Did you really?
I got banned, and like they ban you, and then I just go get a different email and get a new account.
Jeez.
It's awesome. That's awesome. Well, that was an amazing segment with David Dudley. Bri, I know you got to agree.
Oh, dude, it's
It was
fantastic.
a really, really good one.
I got times written down.
Oh, dude.
For clips to pull.
Oh, definitely some classics right there.
We have Crack Addict
Yeah.
at the 111 mark. Gay Eater at 130.
Yeah. Yeah.
Coon Hunting at 138.
Yeah.
Dove's Eyes at 147. And Pee Wee, I done gigged my foot.
Yeah.
At 151.
We could actually pull that and use that as a ringtone.
He was
which
like,
would be great.
Pee Wee.
Yeah, which would be great.
I love that story.
Dude, what?
Dudley was the best.
He was the best. What a great interview. Listen to me. Hang in there because Bride of Carpenter, we're going to come back for one more segment.
Let's go.
And when we do that, we're going to open a mystery tackle box. We're going to announce the winner of the like and share contest. And we might actually let somebody in or maybe let a random person in.
Yeah.
So keep watching. We might let you in the chat with us. So
Yeah, Rich, throw the Zoom link up.
Yeah, throw the Zoom link up, Rich. And in this third segment, we might let a couple people in, hang out with us, have a beer. And I hope you're having a great Saturday night. Hang in there with us. One more segment of Ike Live.
4.5-inch drop shot worm. Bama bug. Finesse jig, PB&J. Give me something hard. Hey, KVD here. Now, I didn't always know this much about fishing. 4-aught EWG worm hook. In fact, there was a time when I couldn't tell the difference between a jerkbait and a stickbait. But then I signed up for Mystery Tackle Box, the original monthly tackle subscription. And now I know more about fishing than I do about calculus.
And he knows a lot about calculus.
Plus, I get amazing extras like free fishing magazines. October 2016. Featured article, 4 places to throw a frog. Exclusive decals. Zombie bass. And how-to videos for all the great baits I receive. How to tune a crankbait. Is that underwater footage I smell?
I got goosebumps.
So if you're looking to develop enhanced fishing abilities like me, or you just like getting new tackle every month, go to MysteryTackleBox.com and get your box today. Ooh, live minnows. Is it lunchtime already? Nature's candy. Oh. Is he in my pocket?
Time of year, I definitely recommend putting a little bit of this on your soft plastics too. There he is. Another one. Next cast. And that would be number 6. I'm addicted. I'll admit it. I'm straight addicted.
This might be bigger.
You think so?
Yeah. Feels bigger. I haven't even seen this thing yet. It doesn't want to come up. Don't break me off the rocks.
Oh, it's a... Oh!
27 incher.
He caught it.
28.
Oh
my God, it's such a healthy fish. Look at this size. Put a little liquid mayhem on your crappie jig, and look where the stripers get it.
You can't even see it, man.
That might be a keeper.
This is your tackle. Not that kind of tackle. You use it to catch this, or this, or this. You also use this and that and these. This is your environment. So is this. You love it, live for it, but it will turn this into that. This is the Flambeau Z-Rust Max Tough Tainer series. These are fully infused with exclusive Z-Rust VCI anti-corrosion technology. This is a U.S. naval battleship. The same Z-Rust technology used here has been used on those to protect advanced weapon systems from corrosion in conditions like these. For the fish, it's invisible, odorless, tasteless. And for you, it's FDA-safe anti-rust protection for a minimum of 5 years. This is the next level of tackle management. Not that kind of management. This is the Flambeau legacy of tackle systems. What's your tackle worth?
It's more than who you are. It's who you're with. And it's more than what you do. It's where you do it. Tin Cup Mountain Whiskey.
And we're live.
There you have it. Welcome back to Ike Live. I hope you're having a wonderful Saturday night. I know we are. We just heard from the one and only David Dudley, and dude, it was good. It was good. Cannot thank him enough for coming on, dude. Especially Brian Carpenter, especially the night before
the only
practice day in what is one of the biggest events of the year.
Hey, what's the payday on this
That's
thing?
$300,000.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I really do appreciate him coming on.
Same here, man.
Yeah, that was awesome. The stories are so good. And I mentioned it talking to him, but I want to bring it back up real quick.
If that was that a little look into what watching NPFL is going to be like?
I hope so. I hope so. He's
his insight, dude. And
and he's outspoken. He's not afraid to speak what's on his mind.
I'm in.
But what we were saying off camera here while these commercials were playing, dude, although he grew up in Virginia, which is, like culturally, geographically different, he would have fit in well here because that was a lot. We weren't coon hunting as kids. But we were doing that same shit.
Yeah, we were bagging frogs and hitting with wiffle ball bats.
Yeah, I mean, we were basically doing that same stuff. So,
we did
playing splat, bluegills.
Yeah, we used the New Jersey gig, the wiffle ball bat.
Wiffle ball bat to the head. All right, Dave, you had something you want to talk about?
Yeah. So we have a lot of young people watching. You were talking about ice fishing earlier.
Yeah.
So 2 days ago, the lake, Haddon Lake, where you had a lot, where you had 3 or 4 of the first Ike Foundation kid fishing events.
Yeah.
My son and 2 of his friends came up with a genius idea. They were going to cross the ice lake.
Ooh.
They were going to go sledding on the hill.
Yeah.
They were going to walk across the lake. They get all the way across, about 50 feet from the shore. All 3 of them go through the ice.
No.
And it was thin enough for them to swim their way back, I guess, so they could walk. But so you young guys watching, stay off of the ice. There's a reason that your parents, who you think don't know anything, tell you to stay off the ice. It's because they know something, okay?
So officially, and this is what I've heard now, ice fishing the last few years, officially to be safe ice, to where you don't have to worry about anything, 4 inches is safe ice. So that's a lot of ice, dude. You know,
4,
that's pretty thick. So yeah, stay off the ice.
Same as a slab.
Yes.
Concrete slab in your house.
Yeah. As you notice, I don't know, you get a little close-up of Dave here enjoying some Tin Cup tonight.
I got the ride.
Brian the Carpenter is drinking some Tin Cup as well, and I'm having a Founders tonight. So shout out to Founders and Tin Cup.
So good.
Also, one last chance. Want to remind you, if you're watching over on Facebook, it's your last chance to like and share the feed. You'll be entered in a chance to win this amazing Ike Live gift bag. Can
you share on YouTube?
I don't know if you can share on YouTube.
Yes, but you share it to other sites. You don't
on YouTube.
Yeah, like if you hit
I
share,
apologize, YouTube guys. I'm sorry.
You can then post it to
I don't know either.
Post it to your other. Like, there's no way to share through YouTube. Yeah. But like, it's not like it comes up on my site.
Because I feel bad. There's guys over there that we ignore, and we don't mean to, but I just don't know how to make it work. But I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, you can share and like.
What?
You can share and like, Pete, but all right, it doesn't.
All right, we might have to update our thinking.
Nah, like I'm gonna.
We might have to
get
update
somebody
our
younger
thinking.
in here.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. I don't know if you knew this, Brian, but we are the only live podcast, video podcast that does an MTB unboxing, and we're going to do one now.
While you're setting that up, can I bring up we almost had and we threw out. Rich posted it for a minute. I promoted it on today's Bass U Zoom seminars, and then we changed our course of action. But Barstool Outdoors Young Page Views Ben Friedman was going to come on tonight, but we weren't going to get the Ben that we want. We were going to get Ben dipping out of a wedding into the coat room to check in on us or something like that. So we're going to get Ben on real soon.
We're going to get Ben on. It's going to be great. I can't wait to have Ben on.
I'm a big fan of that dude. I love the way he ran that page, how he set that up. Big fan. So
big fan
coming.
too.
Just official, Pete, you can't share a live stream. You can share it after, like I'd said, but you can't share it while it's live. I just went on. There's no share option.
I didn't conflict with your live stream. I said, can you? The question was, what could you share? And the answer is yes.
Oh yeah. I said okay. I thought you were saying you could do live. Sorry, Peter.
You ever see where two people end up like this with their cars in an intersection? Two old Polish guys. I felt like that was just about to happen.
No, it didn't. It's good. They got four. We're trying to solve this YouTube problem.
Polish cock block.
You guys,
right there.
Yeah, well, 20 years ago, you'd had enough juice to keep going.
Yeah. We are going to unbox a green box tonight, which you noticed the last few shows we've been unboxing the green box, MTB green box, which is the elite box. And you've heard me say it many times before. This thing comes to your doorstep once a month. It's like Christmas to your doorstep. And it puts lures in your hand that you might not normally find or buy on your own. So we're going to open this box. I'm going to grab something here, Dave, and I'm going to pass it over to you. Oh, I already got what I need.
Is this going to anybody tonight?
Yeah, this might go to you. All right. I already got what I need. And I'm going to start here. And you ready for this? Talk about a timely lure. And this is one that's a staple. I picked out the Marabou Pro Roadrunner. Okay? So it's basically a Roadrunner, which is a Marabou hair jig, and it's got a little blade on it. So it's like a fish head spin with a Marabou jig combined in one, and this is the Pro Edition, so it's got a better hook, it's got a lifelike eye, it's got a really nice willow blade with a swivel. Dude, for cold water, for finicky fish, look at that white color, shad color, I would definitely throw that Roadrunner bait right there. Dave, what do you got?
I got a cool one. I got Pocket Pack from Woo. It is tungsten weights that come with the what are these called?
It comes with the bobber stops.
Bobber stoppers. That's the bobber stops and the beads in the event that you're gonna
Dude,
run
that's
a little
smart.
Like all in one pack.
For word?
Whoa!
How
You
about
see
it?
that?
Nah.
Dude.
That could be a game changer
Pocket
right there.
Pack at Woo is the name. I guess Woo Tungsten.
Yeah.
So it
from
comes
Woo
with
Tungsten.
2 weights.
2 weights, the bobber stop, and a couple looks like
Beads.
beads.
Yeah.
Pocket pig.
Oh shit.
Wow. Super smart,
Pretty
dude.
cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Pete Glusick, what do you got in your box today?
Well, I only have the Pro Box.
Pro Box is good as well.
But
We
I love the
Box.
Pro Box. And I got this. This is just a soft plastic Excite baits, and it is auger tail style worm. And this is crazy. This looks like the old man's auger tail.
Old school
worm.
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm bringing this up, because we had this come up as what was I was on BTL. Shout out to Mark Jeffries and Matt at Bass Talk Live. And the question came up, when was the last tournament that was won on a ribbon tail, auger tail style worm? That's the question on the table, Mike. Can you recollect?
Wow.
I'd like to call
I got
Ken
an
Duke.
idea.
Yeah,
it might be a few years old, but
that's
I'll let
a
everybody
great
know.
question. I don't know if I know that off the top of my head.
You do. When I tell you, you're going to be like, oh, I remember now.
Yeah, I remember it too. It was
Is it
on the James.
exclusively on that style worm, Pete, or did the person use other baits as well in the tournament?
On this style worm, Brian, I got it. I can't believe you came up with it.
Yeah.
Come on, keep going.
Oh yeah,
keep
the local dude that fished the brush piles that he planted.
No, it wasn't that.
No,
you fished around him this whole tournament.
I did.
And he won.
Nicest guy in the world.
Nicest guy in the world.
Oh, Charlie Hartley.
Charlie Hartley.
Oh, Charlie Hartley. That's right. Brian Kerschel style, flipping around piers, man.
Yeah, with the ribbon tail. I think he was using a power worm. I don't remember what he was using.
Huh.
But it was this kind of worm. So that's my pick.
Good old ribbon tail.
Wasn't Chris Lane doing that, flipping pads on the St. John's in 2014 with a black worm with a blue tail?
I don't know.
I think that was one of his follow-up baits in that tournament. He was flipping a power worm that had a like the royal blue, like the tidal water blue tail.
Huh.
The old ribbon tail. You don't hear about it much, but it's it still has won tournaments. Brian Kerschel won. What year was that, Mike? Do you remember?
Gosh, it has to be 97.
Brian's right again.
95.
94.
It was a black shad culprit that he used.
And he found it floating.
Red shad. It was a red shad.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Was that 94?
1994.
Wow. Yeah, we were in top rod.
Yeah, we already had a banquets going on by then.
Yeah.
We were running.
Yeah, we were running. We were up and running.
How about it?
Yeah.
I remember that moment of silence.
Yeah.
At our banquet, man.
Huh. Brian, what do you got on
powerful.
the green box?
Dude, for real?
Elite box. What do you got?
How'd you pass up on the baby?
Because I knew you wanted that because you're spending all your money on that stuff now.
That's a Mike Buca's bullgill.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
How many joints?
Free. 3 of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mike Buca.
That's funny.
Dude, it's a legit bait.
Legit. I like it.
And Chase Bait's Rip Snorter. I don't know, dude.
Mike Buca.
Oh, it's another underspin.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I like the looks of that, too.
That's pretty rad looking.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very, very cool.
And a Rebel. He's still making Rebels.
Rebel.
Best.
That was in the best bin. Remember they put the bins out?
Yeah.
And you'd rummage through those bins? But the crankbaits would sometimes come out of the plastic sheathing. So you'd be down there rummaging around and
Luckily the hook sucked back then.
Bargain cave.
Yeah. Bryce got some kind of message here up on the screen here.
Yeah, I don't know what that said.
I don't either. We're gonna what is that?
Well, you threw it out to the people.
Okay, well here you go. We're gonna start. This is the part of the show we haven't done this in probably I want to say 2 or 3 shows, but we in the third segment here we're gonna open it up and we're gonna get a few of our viewers in here to chat with us and hang out, attack Dave and all that stuff. But I think we've got our first one joining us right now. Who are you? Where are you from? Thanks for coming on the show. We're gonna get a few of our.
Hold on, let me get the right Zoom meeting because all the audios are all fucked up.
Yeah, you got to turn your audio off, homie. You got the show on in the background.
All right, got it off now. Am I good?
You're good.
You're good.
Hey, Dave.
So Mike, this is Drunkwood in Kentucky. John King.
Yes.
That's
How are you?
awesome
Yeah.
woodwork.
Dave, I sent you all those owl nudes. Did you get all those photos on Instagram?
Oh, dude, they were awesome. Great shots, man. They were very clean shots that dude took.
One thing I was interested you didn't talk about with Dudley was fishing Eufaula with the MLF and then the NPFL going right after. I felt that MLF just said F you to the NPFL. Just to step right on.
Yeah.
Wow. Good catch, dude.
I'm glad you brought that up because we totally missed that.
Why didn't you message me, bro?
Yeah, because
that was a problem.
Yeah, think about this. Dude.
Yeah.
Pete Glusick, weigh in on this with me. There are 1,000 places they could have picked, right, in that quadrant of the United States. 1,000 places they could have picked. And yet they went to Lake Eufaula the week before the Party Rock organization. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Pete, coincidence?
Well, man, number one, Lake Eufaula is a
Pete,
community.
explain this.
There's a community there that is anxious to host tournaments.
Right.
Not every community is anxious to host tournaments. A lot of communities, it's very, very difficult to get permitting, to get like-minded people that want you to come.
Right.
So, you gotta take that into account. It was a place that was available,
Right.
So yeah, I'm hearing about this for the first time. I think it stinks, but so what's going to happen? Explain this to me. So they're going to have the MLF and then immediately have a NPFL event?
Yeah.
No. There's a couple weeks in between.
Oh, Jesus.
So
Thank you, caller.
NPFL doesn't start until March 11th, but the MLF Red Crest is starting this week. So
that's like an eternity. The Chesapeake Bay has 200 boat tournaments every 3 days.
Yeah, but this gives Dudley, and watch how the National Fishing League or Professional Fishing League comes out on this, because Dudley's going to have already been on there.
Right.
He's going to have more insight. Watch how it sets up for them, and it's later in the season, closer to spawn. Watch how it sets up for them to be a bomb, dude. Yeah, it's going to be amazing.
Way better.
Yeah,
it'll be way better.
And you got a guy that was just out there calling the play-by-play.
That's a great read, Dave.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was thinking, Dave.
Yeah,
You're so smart.
We can thank John for making Pete make excuses for the other league for no reason.
Right. Right.
Pete, you didn't even have to do that. There's plenty of time.
Pete Biden, everybody.
I got skills. You guys can use them anytime.
I got another question. You guys didn't bring it up today, and I saw it on the message boards. How about Quantum? No one's talking about kind of the
Quantum?
The backdoor Quantum. Zebco got bought out, and Quantum's really not doing anything. Kind of lost everyone.
Good call. Good call on bringing this up. I noticed this the other day somewhere. Maybe it was Bass Fan, and I was a little taken back by it too. So, freaking Strike King Lose buys Zebco Quantum, Pete.
Wow.
So, think about some of that stuff there. First one is, and I work for a couple companies that are sort of have that bigger conglomerate, but dude, that's a bad. I don't ever like that in the fishing industry where a company starts just buying up other companies.
And then then all of a sudden they start a buddy trail, and you can only use their boats.
Well, I mean that happens. That happens, but
and they call it the U.S.
an open,
the fake open.
Yeah. But I think it's overall. I think that's a bad thing when that starts to happen. I'm not a fan of that. But
the Quantum they lost a lot, and they seem to be losing market share with what they were doing. And it's interesting to see because Kevin went over to Lose. He was a Quantum guy.
A lot of guys
forever,
Yeah, so did Hackney.
Yeah.
So they literally bought the company. They stole the anglers, and now they're using Lose, and then they buy the company of the brand that they represented. So I wonder if are they going to kill the brand, or are they going to switch it to a?
Well, I think they already killed it. I think they already weakened. Nope. I think they already weakened it so much that they could buy it at a low price.
Quantum will now be your entry-level baitcaster company.
Huh.
Well, that's something I heard today was Quantum will now be like the lower end model of an entry-level baitcaster.
Even below Cast King? No. Not possible.
Well, it's interesting because I saw a Gerald Spohr photo where he was pumping Quantum reels. So I guess he's
interesting.
So here's something
pumping low end reels.
Here's something more interesting, guys, than all of that. The SEC, the Security Exchange Commission, is looking into the Bass Pro acquisition of Cabela's.
For real?
As they should.
It could absolutely thwart the whole entire thing. Yeah.
As they should.
Right. But I did get a buddy of ours, Lee Means, sent me a message that the ABA 150's on Eufaula next week too. So,
wow.
Can I comment that I'm really disappointed in everyone on this podcast right now that we haven't taken the moment to wish Brian the Carpenter a belated happy birthday.
Yeah.
Thank you, John.
Well, so John, you're not a part of the inner circle. So you don't understand how this works. And I'm going to explain it to you, buddy. It's not a rip on you. No one's birthday gets acknowledged except for Mike's. Like in June, it's like Jesus rolled another 400-ton rock out of the way and comes out of the cave. Come back, guys. Like every June, it's like that. My birthday, I'm the eldest. I get no respect. I get forgotten all the time.
Every time.
John McGraw gets a little bit of respect. Tom gets more than I do.
That's bullshit. I actually wish Brian happy birthday twice this year. Once on his real birthday and once on a birthday that wasn't even his.
Mike's birthday, Becky shows up at our houses and lights bottle rockets off in front of our own house.
We celebrate even if he's not there.
Hear ye, hear ye. This June of the 16th.
17th.
All right.
Dude, it sucks. Is I try to remember Dave's birthday every year for 40-something years, and I still can't.
Dude, the only birthday
I know it's
that's
somewhere around Thanksgiving.
The only one that's easy to remember is McGraw's because it's
Yeah.
on fucking New Year's for crying out loud.
Yeah.
It's the same as my dad, so I know, that's how I remember McGraw.
That's the only one that's
it,
easy
yeah.
to remember.
Yeah.
We ought to start having like a calendar of days and hours and minutes countdown till Mike's next birthday.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the webpage needs a running clock.
Well, I already know what I'm getting Pete for his birthday, a new set of headphones.
Yeah. On Mike's birthday, Becky treats the pillow he slept on the night before like the Shroud of Turin, but puts it in like a heat shrink pack. For future generations to admire.
Look what you started.
Beck gets her old butler to come out.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to know how much plowing Riz has done actually this winter year.
What are we talking about?
Rizzo.
Is it?
Yeah.
Rizzo, what kind of plowing are we talking
Snow
about?
or
Oh, let me go full screen.
We talking snow? We
good
talking
year.
something
We're
else?
talking slippery wallet.
Riz, you gotta answer the question.
Damn it.
Go ahead, force your response.
All right, go ahead, Riz. What's the answer?
Well, how's this year been for plowing? Last year was a little rough, but this year I really started to spread my wings and fly.
Despite all the
That's another
COVID
3 months.
restrictions,
I can't come back to the studio now. Thanks, John.
Riz is still plowing away. What COVID?
For what?
Oh God, my rib hurts now.
That was good, John.
My rib.
Brian and I were talking like our generation's COVID was AIDS, right? They had us all thinking
Was
we were
AIDS.
all going to get
Yeah.
AIDS.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, I
Yeah,
told
you
Brian.
thought, dude, it was so bad. You thought you could give yourself AIDS.
Yeah. No, listen, dude. Listen, I'm going to tell you a story. So I had an ingrown hair on the side of my head last week, right? A real big, and it hurt like hell, and it made me think of something. So I'm in high school, and I don't even think I was intimate yet. And I worked at a supermarket, right?
Yeah.
And I had this giant lump down in the nether regions.
Yeah.
And I worked with this guy. The night manager name was Billy Brancotta. And Billy was a guy, like, all we had to do was get him talking about his youth. And if he wasn't talking about his motorcycle or his car, he was talking about punching people in the face in Philly. Like,
Yeah.
he was one of those dudes. And we didn't have to work.
Yeah.
We'd all get him telling his stories, and
Cobra
we'd all
Kai.
just stand around and listen. So out of the blue, like, I'm bringing up awkwardly about this lump. And then, like, everyone separates, and Bill looks at me. He's like, come here. He brings me into the back. And he's like, I know you got something. Let me see. So, no, but it wasn't like that,
What?
dude. I showed him. He's like, ingrown hair. That's it, dude. I was like, in this day and age, dude, could you imagine? Like, he was cool. He was being like a father figure, you know what I mean? But this day and age, he'd be arrested.
I'm no doctor, but I'll take a look.
But he said, let me see. And I didn't even think twice.
Oh my God. The world has changed, bro. The world has
So let me get a
changed.
question. Let's see everyone's pick for this week's Knoxville, Tennessee River Bass event.
Ooh.
You got to remember, we had a shitload of snow and ice, and it's 30
Yeah.
degrees, and
Yeah.
Tennessee is shitty.
Yeah, I drank too much for this.
Man. Pete, you want
Next
to
segment.
get in on that guess?
I'm biased. I'm picking new.
Brian knew.
Oh.
Yeah.
All
That's
right.
who I was going to pick, man.
Well, here's the deal. Here's the deal.
Here's the deal.
He's from the North Carolina area. He excels in the cold weather tournaments, although the Florida tournaments has been where everybody's seen him. But this is his strength, fishing in this kind of condition. And he's got the elite wind behind him now. He's got the momentum. How many times have we seen a guy with momentum just roll? I'm picking new.
Okay.
Back to back.
Hey, Pete, you do know that Matt Robertson is signed with you guys, right?
Yeah.
All right, pick Matt Robertson, you dipshit.
I mean,
well, he didn't sign with me.
Yeah.
No, I think Matt's a good call. You know, he had a bad one. You know, a lot of times your motivation is there. When you have a bad one, you want to go out and kick ass the next one. Yeah. I'm going to say Stetson Blaylock.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I'm going to say Stetson.
I'm going Chris Zaldane on this one.
Zaldangerous.
I'm basing this off some history, I got a laptop in front of me, so I'm cheating a little bit. So I just pulled up a few results, dating back.
Fished the classic there.
2019, the timing of the year is not that terribly far off. I'm going Zaldane.
Zaldane's a good one. Dave,
Brian?
Dave, who do you got?
Dave Brodzik going Ott Defoe.
Yeah, I was thinking more. I was thinking maybe. I don't know. Maybe Trait Zaldane.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't follow
Dave's
like
going
this.
Trait.
I don't follow
Dave's
like this,
going
guys.
Trait.
I really
Buck,
don't.
All right, you're in on that one, Dave.
Buck Stronghold. Who you picking, dipshit?
Mike Huff.
There you go.
Kentucky guy, fishes that area.
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
I will say, I will pick Zaldane. If Zaldane doesn't get a top 10 cut, he needs to shave that mustache and go for a new route. So.
You think it's bad luck?
Oh, it's terrible bad luck. His wife hates it.
He wears it well. I think he wears it well, though. He looks good.
I like the look.
Oh, he does. He does wear it well if he's working at fucking Chi-Chi's. But
Right, if he's flying Colombian Bam Bam over the border like in a little tiny Cessna.
No, but here's the thing with facial hair. And like some guys probably aren't like this, but I'm superstitious. So when I would start rocking something like that, dude, if it was going bad, 2, 3, 4 events in a row, dude, it's the first thing to go. You know what I mean? Like you got to change it up.
Yeah.
If it's a mustache, get rid of it. Try clean. If clean's not hacking it, full beard. Full beard's not. You got to keep changing up.
You know what that?
But you can grow a whole new set of facial hair in a night. So I mean, come on.
You know what superstition comes from? It's not something we ever really had. It's from our calcified pineal glands that they've done through poisoning our water.
What?
Yes.
What?
Google calcified pineal gland and just do it. And don't.
Pineal?
Yeah, like so. Like back in the day when I was like, I picked the phone up and you're on it because I was coming to call you.
Yeah.
We have a connection.
Yeah.
Okay. How many times, like, dude, I was just thinking about you.
Yeah.
And I like.
Yeah.
That's your pineal gland at work. That instinct, gut instinct. Being able to sometimes see things and predict future events.
Third eye.
Look it up. Yeah, third eye. Just look it up, man.
Where's the gland?
I'm with all that, but where the hell did you come up with calcifying in your
because he's
drinking
talking
water?
about superstition. I'm saying the base root of all that bullshit comes from a confused understanding of what we used to know.
Huh.
The calcified.
Thanks, Dave. That would have saved me
drinking
2
water
marriages
things.
ago. I appreciate the information now.
And again, this was based in no fact or history.
Google it. How can you say that? Google it. You haven't read one article about it.
Alexa,
I can Google and find an
what's
answer
a
to
calcified?
But I mean, I don't know how you can say that when you've never looked into it. You know what I mean?
No, you're right. Let's talk about it.
What you're saying has some legitimacy to it, though, Dave. Like when you're fishing, if you make that cast and like a second before you actually catch the fish, like you know that you're gonna get a bite.
That's the
right?
gland.
Yeah.
That's the pineal gland.
And this actually happened this year. I was having dinner. It was just me, Heather, and Logan at the table. Luke wasn't eating dinner with us. And Heather goes, "Did someone fart?" And I farted. But she said, "Did someone fart?" And then I farted.
Wow.
Like Dave said.
Huh.
See, my
hell are we
All right,
talking
don't ever
about?
do that again.
I'm joining another
Jesus
podcast. I have enough.
This is the end.
Hey, so we got another caller in the queue. John, great stuff tonight.
Yeah, John, that was awesome.
Yeah,
That
the
was
only
awesome.
thing, front
Drunk
lit.
wood pig.
John, look at me. Front lit, not back lit. That fucking
Front
light
lit.
in the background's killing me, dude.
Yeah.
I want it in your face,
Yeah.
not behind your head.
You look like the composite sketch of a rapist right now.
Who do you think you are, Al Linder?
Front lit, John. Thank you, buddy.
See you guys.
Dark web.
Later.
Like, on the- like a dark web commentator. Founder of Backpage, everybody.
That's awesome. All right, we've got another guest here on Ike Live tonight. Who are you? Where you from? How you doing?
So it says Drew Gregory on the is his ID. Drew, can you got your microphone on? Can you hear us?
Yo, Drew. Yo, dude.
Hold on, he'll catch us in a
I
second.
don't think he has his mic on.
Yo, dude.
Yeah, he's muted.
Light it up, Drew.
Take it off mute.
Light it up.
Here we go.
Calcified
Live programming.
pineal gland.
Yeah.
Where's the gland
They
located?
poisoned this to our water. It's in your brain.
It's in your brain?
Yeah.
No shit.
Drew, you got to turn your mic on, buddy. Just scroll around the screen. Rich, help him out. Dave, tell us more.
Say something. Can we hear you?
Mike, you remember Dudley in the early years on Champlain?
On Champlain?
He was one of the first to run the Ticonderoga.
Was he really?
He was in that group because we were all scared to death because the water was so big and huge.
Yeah.
And he just took his boat and ran 60 miles south, and we thought, Dudley's just being Dudley. He's off the charts, you know.
Hey Pete,
But
on
I
that
remember
note, what's the most treacherous part of Champlain you ever hit at one point that you can remember?
Cumberland Head, there's no question. I mean, that's the most treacherous part. When the south wind blows and bounces off that big peninsula.
Is Cumberland Head the big dickhead looking island?
No, that's like around like that's right around what is that? The Pigeon Island, right in Plattsburgh. It's
right outside of Plattsburgh.
It's the whole gut of
Mike.
Plattsburgh, dude.
It's that big.
That's
It's that big
Cumberland.
point. If you're going north, you got to drive around that big point.
Yeah.
Butler and Knight are on the Vermont side. I'm trying to think. Bixby Island. It's Bixby Island, right around Bixby.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cumberland Head is treacherous and
Yeah.
and it's bad, but it's nothing like Cape Vincent when the wind blows out of the southwest. You know, Cape Vincent is the worst that I've ever experienced in all the places that I've fished. Second to Cape Vincent, Mike, you remember this? Lake Marion and Moultrie down at Santee
Oh
Cooper.
God, yeah.
I heard
When you're
that gets
coming
killed.
out of the diversion canal, and you're going out into the big lake, and the waves are monstrous, giant waves. They're the two worst places in the world, right there.
I hit one
in the world.
Yeah, Pete, one time the mouth of the Sass coming from the south when we launched out of the south for a BFL, the mouth of the Sass wasn't as bad as I've ever experienced on Champlain, where you said in Plattsburgh. But man, dude, the mouth of the Sass one time, it was terrifying, dude.
It's bad. It's bad there. And there's what's the Elk River? What's that? Elk Neck.
Yeah.
That's like when the wind blows out of the south and hits that point, and it's going against the tide. Oh my God!
It's funny you should say that because when Mike when Mike first got his
there.
big boat, Pete, when Mike won the big boat in '94, he and I went down there and launched out of Elk Neck, and he didn't know how to fight big water, and it was big water that day, dude. And we were spearing. Oh my God, it was terrifying. I was like, this is what big boat driving is. Like, where's my crawdad, man?
Yeah.
I remember Soley telling the story of him driving from Philadelphia to the Middle River.
Yeah.
And he come out of the Elk River and hit the bay with monster winds and just beating his partner to death and his boat to death. and I know how rough it is because when the wind's against the tide, you know how tight the waves get and how hard it is. But he went there. He caught like a 10-pound limit out of the Middle River, you know, fishing for an hour and then driving. He spent his whole day driving through snotty, nasty Chesapeake
Like
Bay weather.
135 miles one way.
Yeah.
for 10
Just-
pounds.
Yeah.
Just like all the boaters are going to have to do at the new Open tournament that's going to be launching out of Baltimore.
That's bullshit.
Yep. That's
What? That's
a-
so lame, so crooked. The whole
What are you talking about?
Mike, that the U.S. Open tournament that you sent me the text about, they're launching in fucking Baltimore.
What
Dude, they're launching. They're the Johnny Morris Bassmaster White River boat thing, the Open.
Fake Open.
It's going. It's the closed, but it's going on the Chesapeake, and it's being launched at the bridge below Chester River, like way down, like below the middle, below all those rivers down there, the Seneca and all that stuff. It's around the big island on the main part of the bay. They have a big launch ramp. It's a beautiful launch ramp. You know, if you know, you got a giant saltwater boat, but it's beautiful launch ramp there. And that's where they're launching the tournament for this event.
Huh.
You can see the bridge from there, can't you, Pete?
Well, it's
at the bridge. It's like there, you know.
So what do you have to? You have to be a Ranger owner for that event, or a Nitro owner, or what was the
Ranger? It's a
Triton
white.
Nitro.
Yeah, it's Ranger, Nitro, Triton. You know, or they have some saltwater boat models too that you're probably better off in that model.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting. You'll see how bad nitros really are because there'll be pieces of them the whole way back.
Well, what I worry about, Mike, is the tracker boat guys, which all want to be in that tournament. I would be too. I want to be in that tournament.
Listen, at the end of the day, dude, what is really needed in bass fishing is a high level buddy trail. I love a buddy tournament. It's awesome. We need that,
Yes.
man. We really do need that.
would
I
like
thought
it,
this
too.
was it. Unfortunately, it's not. It's an owner's tournament. But I would love to see eventually somebody come forth with a high level buddy trail.
There is at South Jersey Bass Club Association.
Boom. No, but for
Hey,
real
now.
stuff. And damn it, it was
Give away some boats, man. Make it fun. And the only, you know, if we can have, you know, kayak tournaments where it's all paper and everybody trusts each other and it makes sense, you know, we got to find a way to have a buddy tournament where it's legal and it's trustworthy and
Put a
there's some
little
kind of,
spy
nobody's
in each boat.
Nobody's pineal glands are crusty.
Calcified.
Calcified. Right there. Come on.
Exactly.
I'm with you.
You shot it down.
How dare you?
You shot it down very
No, I
rudely.
shot
How
that.
dare you?
You made
Very
shit up.
rudely.
I've been 40 years of putting up your made up math.
Google it.
Google that shit.
We're not talking math.
Fake science.
Take some Advil. Come on.
I didn't tell you
Let's
the
go.
diameter of the pineal gland. I just said it's calcified by our poisoned water. That's all.
The government is poisoning in the water.
They want a dumb population. That's all.
Well, Drew, I don't know why we can't get your microphone connected. You're not.
Try
connected.
again. Drew, can we hear you?
No.
Say
Doesn't
something,
look like
Drew.
he's talking. Like you know.
He's calcified.
Drew's actually calcified.
Damn government.
The government.
Don't drink the water, Drew.
All right,
Up
let's
in
do
the air.
this.
Eviler than you think,
Let's
man.
do this. Riz, let's
Yes.
let's get ready to announce the winner here in just a second for this gift
Government.
bag.
Give me like 30 seconds and I'll have it
Yeah,
for you.
no problem. So want to thank everybody that watched over on Facebook tonight. If you participated in the like and share, Riz in just a second here is going to pick a winner. So thank you for,
I got
for
something.
like and sharing. Yeah, Brian, what do you got?
Dude, I know you saw it, Dave. I don't know if you saw it because you're not really dialed in just yet, and you probably never will be, but you're almost. You kind of dabbling with the social media. But our boy
Thanks.
Oliver Nye
Awesome.
is down in Florida right now, and I don't know how it came about, but he fished with
He fished with Roland. It was
Yeah.
awesome.
He had a day on the water
that's
with Roland
great.
Martin in Okeechobee.
Him and his girl fished with Roland. That was cool.
Could you imagine, dude?
No.
Could you imagine a day on
Can't
on
imagine.
Okeechobee with Roland Martin?
No.
Wow.
Seriously, that's
It'd be awesome. I saw one of the pictures he posted. You know how like Instagram sort of crops some of them until you know whatever you like expand. Maybe it was Facebook.
Yeah.
Until you expand on it, and I thought it was Oliver and Roland waiting in the water, and like when I first saw it, I'm like, that motherfucker restaged Roland in his heyday.
Yeah, remember that?
Yeah,
Getting
I'm
out
like,
there in the grass.
and then I was like, oh my god, I can't believe he did that. But then I like clicked on the picture and it wasn't. They were just standing on the front deck of the boat.
Okay.
But I thought that for a second, and I was like mad because I was like, damn, I want to do that.
Because being kids from New Jersey, you thought if you stood in waist deep water in Florida, you were going to get consumed by a snake or a gator. Like we
Dude,
didn't. You know what I mean?
I mean, I just remember those videos and pictures of him.
They're
out
the
there
best.
with that big ass willow leaf on that spinnerbait,
Or
dude,
buzzbait.
catching big ones, dude. Oh God.
Do you remember the one that he lost? Like he was filming, and he caught this giant fish wading, and he had it right in his hands, and he was about to show it off to the camera and do rolling and explain how it all went down, and he lost the handle on it, and it just went back in the water.
I don't remember that one, bro.
No.
Oh man, it's priceless.
Wow.
Well, I'll find that video. I'll send it to you guys. It's priceless.
Yeah, Oliver's like, dude, he's 80 years old. He would like set the hook and GoPro start recording just like a machine. You know what I mean? Out there rolling.
Yeah.
Jacked an 8-pounder, no problem.
That's awesome.
This is
Iron
Roland.
Man.
This is Roland saying GoPro start recording.
Yeah.
Where'd they fish? Okeechobee?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Very, very
Love
cool.
that guy.
I'm jealous.
Yeah, about that.
We should everyone should be jealous of that.
Yeah, I'm jealous.
Yeah.
Good for him. He's a playmaker.
Yeah.
Wyatt. We have Wyatt.
All right, Wyatt.
Wyatt.
Good name. Good name.
How you doing? Welcome to Ike Live. What's going on?
God,
Good
damn
job,
it.
Bri.
Oh, you know what? I can't fix the stupid of the world.
Are you saying it's Wyatt's fault? This is 2 in a row.
What does he got? What is he showing us?
I don't know.
What is that he's eating? Look at that.
Guts? Is that?
Cooking?
Oh yeah, it's guts.
Is that raccoon?
It's raccoon heart.
Hold on, Wyatt. You got
Yeah, it's
Wyatt. Connect to the audio, bro, please.
Bottom left side of
Please.
your Zoom connection, Wyatt, will be mute, unmute.
Brian's pleading.
Please.
Any audio?
All right.
Talk to us.
Let me get one more that's not connected.
It's on the bottom left side for all you guys joining
Let's
us.
not. I'm tired.
I got a winner.
All right,
Oh,
Riz got a winner.
What time is it?
For the Ike, it's late. Riz got a winner for the Ike Live gift bag. Riz, what
That's
do we
right.
got? Who do we got?
The winner of the Ike Live gift bag tonight comes directly from the state of Georgia, Brandon Hancock. Congratulations.
All right.
Brandon Hancock, winner of the Ike Live gift bag tonight. Brandon's actually related to Herbie Hancock.
Herbie.
I don't know if you knew that.
And Graham Hancock.
The original Rocket song. Yeah.
Rocket.
Yeah.
Herbie
Right, you guys there?
We got audio?
You got me?
Oh! Jesus! It actually worked.
Freaking way.
Holy hell, it worked.
Yeah. What did I miss? Last 10 minutes.
All you had to do was just push unmute.
We always save the best for
It
last.
felt like hours.
Listen, the show's already off the rails anyway, so I mean, come on.
Right, what does it matter at this
What does
point? Yeah, what does it
Who's
matter?
still watching? Dude, it was all testing perfectly. I was on BTL like 2 days ago with the exact setup. The setup I always use. I don't know what's up, but we're here now, fellas. So let's enjoy it.
It may be a producer issue.
Hey, can you maybe?
You know what, Wyatt?
Wyatt,
You don't win anything.
Wyatt, can you mail Pete? Can you mail Pete your old headset? Because I'm sure it's better than what he's using now. Looking at what you got.
Why, do you still have your Walkman from the 80s? You can mail Pete.
Pete bought those headphones when he was buying his gas station sushi.
Yeah. That's back in 58.
Truck stop sushi,
You
man.
know,
Yeah.
back in the 80s, we had the big earphones. It's streamlined now, guys.
Yeah.
You got to
All right.
step up.
That's right. Streamline.
Yeah.
All right. So, all right, White, what's going on? Give us some good info. What do you got going on?
All right. Well, a couple things. First of all, Pete, very tough to follow you on BTL, my friend. That's not easy, man. So great job over there the other day representing the Bass U and all that you guys do. So I got an Ike story.
Uh-oh.
I got a story.
Uh-oh.
Coming with stories here. Ike, I don't know if you remember this, but on the Susquehanna River, the Hobie BOS, right?
Yeah.
I was gonna say this is a kayak.
We talked in the parking lot for a little bit afterwards, chit chat, and I tell you what, man, I got quite a few friends from working in the fishing industry and on the kayak fishing side. Been doing it for a while. Quite a few friends in the Elite Series, MLF, you name it, and I've just been around a lot of those guys, and some of them they kind of are to the point where it's like, hey, it's a job, no doubt about it, but your passion, dude, and you're just
pissed off at yourself for not being able to do any better than you still gotten the money. You know, you're like 12th out of like 100 and something people, right? I got 4th, by the way. But anyway, I'm just saying, dude, your passion was unreal to me that you were so angry and still determined. It doesn't even matter that it wasn't a $5,000 entry fee and a $300,000 or $100,000 check, dude.
Yeah.
It was all about just you and the puzzle and trying to figure out those bass better than anyone else. It was pretty cool to see, man, that you haven't lost a bit of that spark. And that's what makes some guys a little bit different, you know, out there that are professionals in this, you know, sport. So kudos to you on that, man.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And I remember you and great job in that event. And it's honestly true because it's like, I think back to when, you know, we fished as kids. I think back to top rod tournaments. I think back to Federation, to everything. And every event, like the goddamn Winter League that me and Brian fished for $300. Like, you know, the feeling's the same. It never changes, you know? And but in that event, even more so, because it was semi-new to me, you know, and a new format, fishing in a way I don't normally fish, you know, in that style tournament. Yeah. So I'm motivated to win anytime I fish. I freaking ice fished the other week, and it wasn't even a tournament. And I wanted to beat him, you know, through the ice. So I love it. I hope I feel like that till I'm freaking 90, you know. And I'm definitely going to come back and fish some kayak events in 21, and I can't wait to try again and try to do a little better. You know?
I'll see you out there, man. It's several of them. I went on to win Angler of the Year last year for the Hobie Series.
I was gonna say we got AOY on here, Wyatt Drew Gregory.
Yes.
Good name, dude.
Awesome.
Sound like it.
Yeah, that's
so come out there, man.
That's a hard title to win, dude. I've gained a new respect for that, and we've talked about a lot of shows since I fished that event, and God, there's so much there that from afar, you know, if you don't kayak fish and you just look at it from afar, you're like, oh man, whatever, you know.
It's a whole thing.
Oh, dude,
it's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing.
Absolutely.
It's just as tricky. There's more strategy. I'm serious. There's more strategy there than in a normal tournament.
That's just or at least as much.
I think more, but very, very tough. And great job, because I see what it takes to win that.
And a great name too.
It's not easy.
Tell you what,
it's not easy, man.
Well, his name was Drew Gregory, but tonight he's now Wyatt.
Yeah, Wyatt.
He's Wyatt.
Yeah, Wyatt Drew
Here we
Gregory.
go.
Now, look at him.
Yeah.
He's
Here we go.
and he's Wyatt.
Look at that. Wow.
Got to show it off here.
I'd like to get one of those. That thing
Yeah,
looks
come on,
nice.
man. Let's see it. I know you're going to fish some this year, so hopefully
I'm
we'll
going
see
to try
you.
to fish 2. My goal is to fish 2 events this year. I'm eyeballing Champlain. I'm eyeballing the Susquehanna, of course.
in kayaks?
Yeah, Ticonderoga.
Dude.
Come on, bro. Fuck, I love that place down there. You kidding me? Nah, it's not.
Yeah, but you're thinking about Main Lake, and you could do Main Lake. But honestly, man, what's cool about the kayak and the reason why I got into it and so many people did is to get in those creeks and those rivers and the backwaters, man. Like there's a lot of big fish there. A lot of them, exactly. Tons of them. I'm going to be at Champlain, and I look forward to seeing you there.
I'm going to get a trophy. I'm looking to get a trophy.
You're gonna get a trophy this
I haven't
year?
had a trophy in a long Walmart. I haven't had one in a long time.
Trophies, bro?
Nah, I'm looking to get a trophy.
But you're not going to fish the Ike Open, the Celebrity Pro-Am with Brian again, because you don't want any parts of that.
No, like social media, Brian, like Instagram, Brian, Facebook, Brian. Look how many. He doesn't let me finish
2
this.
people.
He never lets me finish this.
Because
Go ahead.
You're a lie. Everything about you is a lie. It's a lie. It's a lie. It's a lie. I treated you great. God damn you.
Instagram,
you called
Facebook.
out my bigger fish and kept smaller ones.
Look,
You had
Kelly
nothing
won't,
to say.
won't let me finish, dude.
Tell your lies.
so funny.
Yeah. No, that's fine. Instagram, Facebook, Brian's hard to fish with.
You know what, dude?
Look at him.
What the fuck did I do? That show's over. Fuck this guy.
The show's canceled now because of this.
Yeah.
No, well, Dave, everybody. I mean, we all have multiple personalities. Look at Pete.
Right. I just have one. It's awesome.
Now you've got more than one. No, we heard it. We heard the other personality of Pete and our with our other guest. You called our guest Drunk Wood to the table. I like that, Pete.
Well, that kind of
Challenging,
pissed me off,
confronting.
you know.
Yeah.
That was upsetting.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people in this room that upset me from time to time. You know, I'm actually pleased that Brian and Dave are going at each other and not me. So
I'm done with it.
The heat is off.
It's kind of cool that I can be a spectator.
The heat is
you know?
off. That's right.
But I'm thinking about your Champlain tournament, like South Bay for a kayak.
Yeah.
Like where, like everybody would run to way down there with the water chestnuts. What's down there that guys, you know, can access with a kayak?
Yeah.
You know,
South
I'm
Bay.
interested.
A lot of shallow water
Yeah.
down there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Gotta be
that's right. We
tapped.
We
Yeah.
can crank up the outboard with the Tacoma and just launch wherever we want to launch. So we can get down there. A lot of the tournaments out of Plattsburgh, they can never get down that far, you know? So
Yeah.
we're going to be able to figure it out in a different way and see what it has to offer. I can't wait, man. I'm pumped about that one.
Now, do you know, I know, you know, a lot of times, leading up to the event, they'll announce the actual boundaries. Do you know, is that one wide open, like all Lake Champlain, or will they announce the boundaries as it gets closer to the event?
Yeah, so AJ McCorder, he's the tournament director. He'll announce it a little closer, but I mean, in general, they definitely leave the entire lake always open. It's just going to be the question of, are they going to cut off any free flowing rivers, you know, at a certain point? You know, a lot of times you hit a dam, you know,
Right.
the river will go up, you hit a dam anyway. They don't have to make a boundary because that's already in the rules. You hit a dam, obviously, that's no longer the same ecosystem. So they may cut some off, but I really don't think they're going to cut too much of that off because, see, that's the beauty of how kayak and bass can get along really well. As long as we keep our boundaries open to where we can still do the main lake stuff, the bank stuff, but then also go to the creek stuff, you know, the river stuff. We're not really going to merge too far into the bass boat lane where bass boaters get really ticked off at us and they're just they just see us like mosquitoes. They're swatting away like, these freaking kayakers, why can't they, you know, let them go up the creeks and rivers, which is what the kayak's for, right? So I think that they're doing a good job of keeping enough like boundaries open. We can kind of do all the above and show the versatility of the kayak off, you know?
Yeah. Well, I got another question for you, too. So this year I want to try to fish 2 Hobie events, but I wanted to dabble in a couple of the other series. So I was looking at a BASS event on the Upper Bay, and I was looking at a KBF event on the Potomac. Are they run pretty similar to the Hobie BOS events?
It's pretty similar. So there's a few small differences that it doesn't take long to explain them. Basically, Hobie BOS and Bass are about the same entry fee, around $250, $260. And then KBF is $100, but it's a weekend of tournaments. So it's a Saturday and Sunday, but they're 2 separate tournaments. So if you don't do good on Saturday or you can't make Saturday, your kid's got a birthday party, you can do either or both. So it's $100. So essentially it's $200 a weekend.
Yeah.
And then Hobie is 2 days, but Bass is only 1 day. So I feel like if, you know, like Hobie might be considered to most people as the more elite level just because it's a 2-day tournament, which really kind of separates the competition.
Yeah.
Whereas Bass is 1 and then KBF's, you know, 1 each day. But they're all essentially scored the same way: catch, measure, photo, release with, you know, your catch measuring board, and then you take your photo with the phone, and that's pretty much how it works. I mean, I think most of you guys watching probably, you know, seen and heard how it works. So it's a lot of fun, man. If you never fished in it, you definitely got to get into it. But I would definitely check out both those events. I might hit that Upper Potomac. You know, I fished the Susquehanna a little bit. I'm sure some of that'll be in bounds up to the dam. So
yeah,
I want to go hit that one and going to fish several KBF events. I'll hit Lake Murray next weekend and then Pickwick, Wilson, and Wheeler after that. And then head back to Dardanelle on the Hobie series. And I'm going to try to qualify for the AOI for all of the trails. That's actually the other difference. Bass doesn't do an AOI yet. Hobie and KBF do. So that's another small difference because Bass only has 5 regular season events and the 1 championship, which, by the way, in terms of your the news of all the changes, right? Bass just announced yesterday or today it was that the tournament, the championship that's held in conjunction with the Classic, got moved from Lake Louisville to Possum Kingdom. So that's another change that just happened kind of out of the blue on everybody there. So we'll see. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting. Well, I hope to see you at least 1 or 2 of the events, Drew. And again, congrats on a great season last year. And I'm looking forward to competing against you again.
Yeah, man, should be fun. Hope to see a lot of you guys out there.
Yes, sir. Thanks for coming on the show tonight, causing a brawl.
Thanks, Drew.
All right, guys. See you. Thanks.
Yeah, you got it. It's awesome. I want to wrap it up. We had a great show. It's 10 o'clock. Want to thank our guest, David Dudley's probably sleeping by now, thinking about all the stories that he told us. I want to thank him for sure for coming on. Also want to thank a couple of our Instagram guys, Drunkwood and Drew Gregory, for coming on. Want to thank all of our guys, Rizzo, Pete, thank you guys for participating tonight. Brian the Carpenter for producing a great show. Dave Brodzik for starting the fight tonight. And thank you guys
Go ahead,
for
Dave.
watching.
One last shot.
One last shot, Dave. What do you got?
I'm good.
Yeah. you don't want to hear that tired-ass argument again why you won't come out on the vote?
Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cool.
Hope everybody
Good
has
shit,
hope everybody has a great weekend, and we'll see you at the next one. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.